Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Good afternoon. As the hour is 6:45, I'm calling the Town of Exeter Select Board meeting of May 18, 2026 to order. Our first business this evening is to go down to the wheelwright room for approximately 10 or 15 minutes to conduct a board interview. Then we'll be returning back to the Novak room at approximately 7 o'clock to commence our regular business meeting. So we'll be back in about 10 or 15 minutes.
For this week's report. New police station moves from plans to progress. America 250 commemorative print unveiled. Exeter's handbell choir performs new piece. SST students build planters. SAU 16 updates from Blue Hawk Media. Updates from Parks and Rec. And the Alewife Festival is back. For Exeter TV, I'm Bob Glowacki from where the fresh Exeter River meets the brackish Squamscott River to announce the start of the annual river herring migration. Right in front of me are probably a dozen or two alewives or blueback river herring, and let's try and see if we can take a look. I missed them. Good afternoon, Exeter. Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button and like this video to help spread word about the show and all things Exeter. You can also head over to the town website and subscribe to the town's email newsletter to get this show and other local news sent straight to your inbox. For our first segment, we took a trip over to Continental Drive to check in on how the new police station and fire substation is moving from plans to progress.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the future home of the Exeter Police Department and new fire substation. Thank you for joining us. It is great to have
Members of the police department, fire department, and other town officials gathered on April 22, 2026 to celebrate the progress made on the new police station and fire substation on Continental Drive. Missing by only 45 votes in 2023, voters approved the project during the 2024 town election, with Article 4 authorizing the design and construction of a new $17.5 million police station with a fire substation to address the safety and space needs of both the police and fire departments. Ground was broken in December 2025, with work on the site quickly progressing.
from geotechnical exploration to blasting of ledge to grading the site, to installing foundations and rebar, and now, in recent weeks, seeing the steel go up and the concrete block walls take shape.
For Fire Chief Justin Pizon, this project was a long time in the making.
I've been with the fire department 23 years, and by far this is probably the biggest milestone we're ever going to reach. Let's have a second fire station in town. I was joking with the assistant chief earlier. He's been with the Exeter Fire Department for 35 years, and the second fire station was already being spoken about before he got hired. So here we are, like 4 decades later, and we're finally getting a substation, and the town will benefit. We're all going to benefit, but this is great.
This brings us into 21st century policing. We were very cramped, and we've outgrown our current facility, which served us well for almost 50 years. But it really boiled down to is the town has grown, the police department's grown.
Police Chief Josh McCain went on to talk more about the building and what will be housed there, including a training room, evidence processing room, evidence storage, an armory, 2 interview rooms, and much more to support the 27 sworn officers, 6 dispatchers, and 3 civilian staff that make up the department. On the fire side, the substation will house a fire apparatus and an ambulance, with room for the crews that operate them. Splitting the existing staff between the main fire station downtown and the substation off of Epping Road will allow response times to decrease for fire or EMS calls.
One area for the fire department we were always deficient in was meeting national benchmarks for response time. So national benchmarks say you should be able to get from the time your truck is leaving the building to wherever your service call is within 4 minutes or less. Currently, we hit about 76% of the Exeter population in that 4-minute benchmark. This fire substation, which will house a fire engine of some sort, a pump, the ladder, we're not sure yet, and an ambulance will definitely be here, allows us to hit 95% of the Exeter population in 4 minutes or less. So from a delivery of service standpoint, this building is going to put us light years ahead of where we are today.
With the progress being made on the project, both chiefs reflected on how far the town has come and the community support that has brought it there.
But without the people in the community listening to our message, we put out a video a couple of years ago, I guess now, about how important it was, what it does for the town. And I really believe people listen to that and recognize, wow, this really is an important project. So I'm beyond grateful.
One of the reasons I came here was because I felt like I was tremendously supported, or in the beginning, that this community supported its law enforcement, and that was one of the huge selling points for us to come here. And it's only paid tenfold. Whether it was this project, whether it was the backing for the municipal contracts just this last year, the town has time and time again shown that it supports its law enforcement and its first responders. So it really makes it an appealing thing. And as far as anything that I would say to them, I'd say thank you. Thanks for supporting us, and we're not going to let you down.
Builders will soon be working on the roof and drainage systems. The building is currently on track to be completed in early spring 2027. For more updates on the progress of the project, be sure to follow the town on social media, subscribe to the town's email newsletter, and as always, tune in to Exeter TV. Up next, the 250 Celebration Committee has been hard at work focusing on our declaration, our town, and our stories as a part of the nation's 250th birthday celebrations. Following up on a previous segment from earlier this year, we caught up with the artists working to depict 250 years of independence in Exeter. What does 250 years of independence look like in Exeter, New Hampshire? Printmaker and Exeter resident Sarah Koff has been pondering this question for the last few months as she was tasked by the town's America 250 Celebration Commission to depict this history on paper.
The whole idea of the poster is telling the story of Exeter over the last 250 years. And so in order to get that story, I needed to compile a lot of stories. I visited the Historic Society and asked them tons of questions and got a lot of stories from them and looked at maps and photos, and so that was great. And then we sent a call out on Exeter TV asking people to write in their stories and what makes Exeter special to them. And so there was just a lot of data and stories and inspiration gathered from different sources.
In all the creativity that we wanted to bring to this project, we didn't want it just to focus on, Americana. We wanted it to reflect community. And so that's when Sarah and I worked sort of on our byline for our work, which was our independence, our town, our stories. So creating the environment where people could then bring their story that would reflect on this.
With all of the feedback she received through the discussions with the committee, Sarah Koff landed on the theme of the Swampscott.
The thing that kept calling me was the concept of the river, because the river is why Exeter was founded here in the first place. And the river it has so much meaning to us, both culturally and historically, but also ecologically. And as a person with a background in ecology, that's just really important to me.
When she landed on the Swampscott River and the history there and all that was amazing. Because pardon the pun, it flows from yesterday to today. And for me, what it evokes is the future as well.
Flowing upriver with the incoming tide, one follows Exeter through history, starting with the native plants and animals that have called this home for millennia. Next, Abenaki fishing weirs are catching alewives, followed by a gondola ship carrying barrels of gunpowder to the powder house. Approaching downtown, the print reflects the present, with a motorboat and a Phillips Exeter crew team in the front of the modern Exeter skyline we have today.
I also included little nuggets here and there, like elm trees lining Swayze Parkway, because we used to have elm trees before the Dutch elm disease destroyed them all, unfortunately, but that was a really important marker of our town. And then some other elements like bald eagles flying in the sky, ospreys. The bald eagles were able to come back after, in the 70s, they were almost driven to extinction, but luckily our environmental laws stopped that, and they are back. Also, with the dam removal, a lot of animals were able to come back, including the alewife now swimming freely up the river. So I wanted to include that environmental story as well.
With the designs completed, multiple plates carved, and ink put to paper, the key block remained for the last few prints. Karen Pryor stopped by the studio to help Sarah finish the limited edition works.
Greens to yellow, and then reds, and then the key block is the browns.
And your detail, good Lord. What do you guys think?
It's very nice.
It's so awesome.
Stop, and then go back the other way.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at it. That is so stunning. Exeter celebrates America.
With her artwork completed, Sarah Koff hopes that it will make people proud of Exeter.
I have not lived in Exeter my whole life. I've only lived here 14 years, which is still something, but I'm so proud to live here. I love this town. It just feels so comfortable. It feels so, it feels like home. And I can't explain why, except this poster sort of to me is, it includes a lot of things that I love about the town. So I just hope people look at it and feel like this is home. This is my place that I'm proud to be from. And yeah, it has a bit of history that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with me, but we're all woven together, and so I think people might resonate with that.
The prints will be on sale for $76, a nod to 1776. Prints can be picked up throughout the year at America 250 events in Exeter, and at a picture's worth 1,000 words, while supplies of the limited print of 55 editions are available. Posters with a copy of the print will also be available. The funds raised from the prints and posters will go right back into hosting 250 events throughout the year. For more information on the prints, 250 events, or how you can get involved in the celebrations, visit the Exeter Celebrates America 250 page on the town website. A few weeks ago, we got a phone call about an upcoming handbell choir concert here in Exeter. We were intrigued, so we sent Dan Monchek on the long journey from the Exeter Town Hall all the way over to the Congregational Church, 350 feet away, to learn more.
The town of Exeter is known for many things, but one of the lesser known aspects of the town is that it's home to its very own handbell choir. Every week, choir members gather at the Congregational Church in Exeter to play this unique instrument.
I mean, it's just full tilt at that point. Don't hold back on the dynamics until you get to that mezzo piano subito. But tempo-wise, I think you're perfectly acceptable in that range.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been in this bell choir for 20 years, or 25. It's an interesting instrument because you just have to play one or two. Jan plays 5 or 6 because she's better at having 2 or 3 in each hand.
Little ones.
But it's not like the piano where one person's responsible for all these notes. And it's not like the clarinet where you have to switch your fingering,
Right.
So if you can play the bell, the note comes out. So it's a fun way for people who can read music
Right.
to play as a group.
Right.
We have some hilarious moments because you can imagine when you have people with 1 or 2 or sometimes 4 bells in their hands.
Good evening and welcome back to the May 18, 2026 Town of Exeter Select Board meeting. The board was downstairs conducting a board interview, and as the hour is now 7 o'clock, we will begin our regular business meeting. Before we get into our agenda, I would like to recognize a long-term resident of the town of Exeter who served on the Zoning Board of Adjustment and also for many years on the Planning Board, most recently the River Advisory Committee. Dan Jones, a longtime attorney in Exeter, passed away several weeks ago. And to honor Dan's memory and certainly the work that he did in Exeter, I'd like you all to join me for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. May his memory be eternal, and our sympathies and our thoughts are certainly with his family that live locally. First on the agenda this evening is public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to come forward with any comment. We do ask, though, that if your comments are relative to an agenda item, you wait until that agenda item comes up. So I'll pause and see if there's any public comment.
I've got some.
Please, Mr. Whitehouse.
Yeah, Keith Whitehouse, West Side Drive. Before I jump up here and harangue you guys about Bear Point Park, why isn't it open? What's going on? What the hell? I'm just kidding. We had the recycler come online today. Dense Fire got this nice sporting shirt, nice color, right? Nice. So we're able to do all those bags, 25 bags, 6 feet high, 5 feet wide, 5 feet wide, right?
Very exciting.
In a couple hours with like 4 people, very exciting. Look forward to promoting the other towns in the region to come here and do it. It goes really quickly. I was talking to Steve about it. So I think once a week would be adequate to get all that done, to save a lot of room in the landfill. That's very exciting. Second thing is Rain's Barn is done. They took the dumpster away today. Hey, all the stuff is out of it.
That's so exciting.
And it's ready to be used. It's just an awesome structure, awesome property. So I want to get out there and promote that, make sure everybody knows that's town property, so that's yours. Come out and use it. So as part of that, we're going to have an art show, 26th of September, Art in the Barn. So there'll be more details on that forthcoming. It's a little ways out, but basically you get an 8x8 canvas, and you turn that in, and we're going to display it for you down at Rains. So,
Keith, where do you get your canvas?
The details are coming about that. I think we're going to have them downstairs. You can just come in and get them. Get them while the supplies last. But if more people want to do it, we'll get some more canvases. So nice. That's very exciting. And I'll finish up by just saying, hey, public land shall be open to the public, right? I got to go on about that for a little bit. I want to disappoint you. Come up here and say that. So, all right. Thank you, guys. I bow to you all. Have a good night.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
So, Keith, before you go, there's a really cool video that the sustainability planner posted on social media several hours ago of the styrofoam thing that you did this morning.
A video shows the end result.
That was exciting to see. Like, that takes a huge amount of cube in the landfill, right? So turnkey scheduled to close, like 2034. It'd be nice if we could recycle all this stuff, densify it down, and have that open for a couple more years. Yeah. That'll be some other town that doesn't get a landfill. Think about that. Thanks, folks.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, moving forward, we have a bid opening for the School Street Area Improvement Project. Madam Clerk, it's
there you go.
Time to go to work here. And I believe we have 4 bids this evening.
Yes.
And the first bid is from MAC Construction and Evacuation from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Put an amount down. Doesn't appear to be a bid on this one.
Of course.
That's so. Can you read that?
Oh my gosh, their font is terrible. I think the maintenance of traffic, I think so.
The one.
Which one?
The number down here.
Oh,
I
the
can't-
total?
That's too small.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Five.
I'm not even going
It
to try
looks
to
like.
guess. It's so
I
small.
think I'm going to guess it, but I think I'm okay.
Maybe we
But
should
I'm
have
just
the
gonna.
youngest member of the select board take a shot at it.
I mean,
You
it's
on it,
small.
Molly? Thank you.
I'd be in the same fix, so
Yeah,
I won't
wish I had my
volunteer.
magnifying glass. That's tiny.
$5,877,274.12.
Smart pants.
That's impressive.
It's good to be a young gun.
And that's for our.
There's one more.
Okay.
So can you, look, well, I just need to know what box to put it in.
It goes into.
And then Molly might have to repeat the number.
I
Yeah,
got
because there's
you.
only two numbers.
Should be a base bid and this should be a compatible.
Yeah, that's not.
This is not right. My page
So-
isn't correct.
So right here, right,
Base?
base bid,
Okay,
and then total project.
thank you. And Molly, could you just read that one more
Yep.
time?
It's $5,877,274.12.
Thank you.
And $351,162.
Repeat one more time.
351,162.
That's the number we want.
351,162. Same number. God, that is tiny.
Three.
Glad to know it wasn't just me.
Yeah. Is that right, that the total would be less than the base? Okay. Go for it.
Okay, this one is from Jamco Excavators in Southampton, New Hampshire.
We need a minimum font size.
You ready? Mm-hmm. $4,080,850. That's 4080850. And then the other amount is $222,174. 222,174.
Thank you.
This one is Grenice and Sons from Salem, Massachusetts.
What was the name?
Grenice and Sons.
Grenice, got it.
Ready? $4,968,936.50. That's $4,968,936.50.
Perfect.
And then we have $298,562.
Got it.
Got that?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
And then the last one is D. Felice Corporation from Drake, Mass. $4,182,375.50. That's 4182,375.50.
Got it, thank you.
And then the other amount is $296,551.40.
Got it.
You got that?
I
So
do.
those are the 4 bids. This time I would entertain a motion to refer the 4 bids to the Public Works Department to make a recommendation to the Select Board.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, before we move on to our proclamation, I was remiss in starting the meeting by not introducing the board. Selectman Dan Chartrand, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Our Vice Chair, Selectwoman Molly Cowan, good evening.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for
Our
coming.
Clerk, Selectwoman Nancy Belanger.
Good evening, everyone.
Selectwoman Julie Gilman had a conflict this evening, so we have a quorum with the 4 of us. Our recording secretary is back there, Joanna Bartel, our interim town manager, Melissa Roy, and my name's Nico Papakos-Sandis. Madam Clerk, would you read the proclamation for National Public Works Week 2026?
Happy to.
Thank you.
You don't want me to read the memo, too?
No, just the
proclamation itself?
Yep.
Okay. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to our sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of people of the town of Exeter, and whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for building and improving and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens, and whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Exeter to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and the public works program in their respective communities, and whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, be it now resolved, we, the Select Board, do hereby designate the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. We urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize and substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. And on behalf of our Public Works Director, who happens to be here, thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have 2 sets of minutes to approve this evening, the first of which is the April 27th, 2026 minutes. Are there any amendments or revisions?
I have one.
Please.
On the April 27th, 2026, it's line 172, page 4, and Becky Moore is just spelled with 2 zeros.
Okay.
Two O's, excuse me. So yeah, it only has 1 in the minutes. That's it. That's all I've got.
Joanna, did you get that? Okay. Any other revisions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the Exeter Select Board regular meeting minutes of April 27, 2026 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And we have our May 4th, 2026. Any revisions or amendments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the Exeter Select Board regular meeting minutes of May 4th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And then, Ms. Roy, we will need to approve the minutes from our Thursday morning meeting of last week. If we could do that.
Yes, I will
on
make
June
sure
1st.
that we have that, yep.
It's 6:45 this evening. The board interviewed Sarah DeWitt, who would like to volunteer as an alternate on the Sustainability Advisory Committee. That's for a term to expire April 2027. I would entertain a motion to appoint Sarah DeWitt as an alternate to the Sustainability Advisory Committee with a term to expire April 2027.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And in our packet, we have a letter of resignation from Nick Campion from the Conservation Commission. Mr. Chartrand, would you like to comment briefly on that?
Nick, I got a little bit of the history of Nick's involvement with the Conservation Commission. He came on board. He was recruited to help with the Rains Barn refurbishment. And now that that's done, he feels strongly that it's time for him to make room for someone who can be more active than he's been able to be in the last few years. But Nick has done great work, and as Keith Whitehouse said, the Rains Barn that refurbishment is done. Obviously, it's an ongoing maintenance thing, but I want to thank Nick and all the folks that kind of came on to help spearhead that on the Conservation Commission. And we will miss him.
Absolutely. We regret his decision, but we're appreciative of the work he did. So with that, I would entertain a motion to accept the resignation from Nick Campion from the Conservation Commission.
So moved.
Second.
So motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Now we can get into our discussion items. We have two public hearings. They're the first two discussion items this evening, the first of which is the first reading of the Cass Street recommendation. The second public hearing is the first reading of the Wadley Street recommendation. I'd like to take just a second to explain procedurally how the public hearings go. Each one will be open and closed separately. We're going to start with Cass Street, and then once that is done, we will move to Wadley Street. I'm going to read the notice of the public hearing. The board is going to vote to open the public hearing. We're going to hear from staff who will speak to each of the matters, the Cass Street and the Wadley Street. The board will then have an opportunity to ask staff questions, at which point we will open it up to the public to ask any questions, make any comments, offer any testimony. Everybody that wishes to speak will have an opportunity to speak. We do ask if you have spoken and you have another thought, if you would wait till everybody gets to speak at least once, but everybody in the room that wishes to speak will get an opportunity to speak. So with that, I will read the first notice of public hearing pursuant to RSA 31:95B3A. Notice is hereby given that the Select Board of the Town of Exeter will hold a public hearing consisting of 3 readings in the Novak Room, 10 Front Street, Exeter, for the purpose of complying with the provisions of RSA 31:95B3A for a proposed change to parking regulations on Cass Street. The first reading will be Monday, May 18th, 2026. The second reading will be Monday, June 1st, 2026. The third reading will be Monday, June 15th, 2026. Each reading will begin at 7 p.m., and this was dated May 8th, 2026. So what this means is the board will not be taking any action until at least June 15th. So with that, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing for Cass Street.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Mr. Cronin, are you speaking to this?
I'm going to start.
Okay.
Steve, if you want to come up to the table. So good evening, everybody. Gabe, if you wouldn't mind showing, there we go. And I'm just going to see. There we go. Okay. So good evening, everybody. If you had seen the packet, the town received a request from a resident at 22 Cass Street regarding no parking. And one of our town regulations is we have a certain set distance of no parking between a sign and the intersection. The request is that length be expanded. So if you look up here, we have our intersection up here. Right now, this whole side, the whole right-hand side of Cass Street, excuse my wiggly hand, currently has no parking from, I believe it's 7 to 3 each day. And then here, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, is it usually 130 feet from the intersection?
No, 30 feet.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
30
so
feet.
there was
Sorry.
a typo in my
Sorry.
memo, but yes, per the ordinance, parking is prohibited within 30 feet of an intersecting street.
So we have this intersection up here. We would typically be able to have a no parking sign, let's say somewhere around here, because that's the distance between, for the intersection. We have a request for the sign to be here, which is significantly longer, or significantly more amount of space to be no parking, which would cause no parking on the left and the right side of Cass Street, which per our regulations, that is something that the board needs to approve. So we received that request. DPW talked with the person requesting it on and off. And in that time, we then also received a petition from some of the residents in the neighborhood with concern about that. So to be fair to everybody, we thought that the best thing to do would be to have a public hearing and allow both sides of the neighborhood to be able to give their feedback and be able to share with the board why they do or do not feel that that is an appropriate request. You'll see in our packet what the change would be, would just be to add, excuse me, I'm going to pull this here. I think you said, what was the length, the 170 feet?
It would be 170 feet total from Park Street.
So it would be to add, currently our restrictions say no parking on the easterly side of the street, the entire length from 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. on school days only. In this request, we would also add both sides of Cass Street for a distance of 170 feet south of Park Street. So that's what would be added to our regulations if the request to put the no parking sign where it's being requested were to go through the board. In the packet, you'll see, like I said, a secondary petition. And the neighbors in that petition, just to let everybody know, also provided some pictures. And not only, and I don't want to speak for them, so they'll have an opportunity, but not only is there concern about no parking, but the area in which no parking is being requested, they have concern about some encroachment onto the actual right-of-way. And you'll see some of the pictures in there. So right now, DPW and myself have actually gone out to view the situation. I will say that I do not feel that DPW, Steve and I feel that the recommendation would be that if they would like a no parking sign, that we stick with the normal amount of distance that we have between our intersections. But that's not my decision to make. I just want to let you know that that's when we went out and looked at it from a safety standpoint and just what we do around in all the other areas of town. But again, it's really important to listen to the neighbors. So we wanted to make sure that both sides got the opportunity to do that. Is there anything you would like to add, Steve?
Nope.
Okay.
Before we open it up to the public, are there any specific questions for staff from the board? Mr. Chartrand.
And the reason that there's no parking during the school day on the easterly side is so that overflow parking from the school doesn't happen on both sides, and the road no longer is two ways, correct?
That's my understanding, correct.
Yes.
It's a pretty narrow road as well, without,
So, but currently, the standard is that the easterly side is precluded from parking during the school day.
Correct.
But then there's parking before and after that.
Yes.
Within the normal restrictions, so no overnight parking, right, during the winter?
Right, yeah, and no parking within 30 feet of the...
Okay, that was one question. My second question was, is it in fact true what the petitioners are saying, that there's encroachment onto the street?
We're of the opinion, yes. Based on surveys that we've seen of the property and where the property bounds are, we feel that there has been encroachment on the right-of-way, yes.
That needs to not be allowed, in my opinion. That's it.
Any other questions?
I don't have any at this time.
And with that, we'll open it up to the public. If anybody would like to ask questions, offer testimony, comment, if you could step up to the mic and state your name and address for the record, we'd love to hear from you.
Richard Page, 18 Cass Street. Would it be possible to hear from the petitioner first?
That is up to you. That person is Abby Pateau. So would you like to speak, Abby? Sure. Okay. If you want to come up here to the podium, if that's okay. I'm not telling you what to do. I apologize.
No.
Having a moment. Excuse me. You can come on up right here if you'd like.
I would love to. Do you have a pointer by chance?
I do. Yep. Here, I'll show you how to use it. Come on up.
Have you stand back there? Would you be able to enlarge that? My vision is not what
Gabe,
it used to be.
I just feel like I'm talking to the man in the moon right now, but Gabe, if you could zoom in on the screen, that would be great. Or do you want me to do it out here? Can you make this bigger, or should I do it on the computer out here?
Right.
Here, I'll have you go right here. So
Zoom to the part that's closest to Park Street, Dave.
Yep, there you go.
Melissa, while you're working that out, ma'am, if you could just state your name and address for the record, and be sure to use the mic so we can get it on the video. Thank
Absolutely,
you.
will do.
Okay.
So it's this right here. You're gonna press it and hold it, and when you press it and hold it, a little light is gonna come up, and as long as you keep holding it, you'll be able to.
Can you zoom it?
A little bit more? Yeah, sure. Let me.
So that everyone can see, possibly.
Do you mean the zoom, the point? You mean the map, right?
Yeah, because honestly,
That's
yeah.
okay. Is that good enough, Abby?
That's fine. Yeah, thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome. And then, like I said, you just press and hold this up when you need it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. All right, and it's 20 Cass Street.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
It's okay, just for the record.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
that.
I'm Abigail Mathis Patou, and I live on 20 Cass Street, which is...
It's the top one. Yep, on your button, because what happens is the people at home get to see there. You go, the red dot
there. Yep. And I live on 20 Cass Street, 60 feet. I thought it was about 60 feet from Park Street. And I'm here to request that the no parking sign be reinstated on the edge of 20 Cass Street and put back onto the western side. No parking. It's already, I guess, put into the ordinance that 30 feet from Park Street is governed already. I just like to extend it there for safety reasons, and I'll explain why to everyone, what my concerns are. But first I'd like to say this. I don't want to change anything about the corner. I don't want to change anything about the bridge. And I'd also like to share with you a little bit about myself. I grew up in New Hampshire, in Londonderry, New Hampshire, and on a dirt road in a colonial, and this leads into it for a good reason, and in the middle of an orchard. So I'm a native of New Hampshire, and I married a man from Guilford, New Hampshire, Kit Patou. He was in the ski industry, and we lived in Park City, Utah for years. And he was a native of New Hampshire. I'm a native of New Hampshire, and Mathis, our family settled Durham Point. So kind of like the Gilmans. In 1639, we settled Durham Point, the Mathis family. So if you know Nancy Sandberg, she lives in the Mathis Garrison House. The Buffalo Farm, my great-grandfather grew up there. So I have a long history in New Hampshire, And I love the idiosyncrasies of the junctions and the roads. And I don't want to change anything, and but I do wish, I do live right here, Melissa.
Oh, yep, there you go.
And I see what happens when you come up, when people come up Park Street. It's a blind corner. And let me just share with you this. There are 4, I printed all of this and then I don't have it anymore. There are 4 factors that contribute to this. One is it's a blind corner, the danger issue. Right there, it's a blind corner. 27 feet, you can't see. So it happens right here. People turn onto Cass Street into oncoming traffic. And as you see, this is the narrowest part of Cass, and I'm not sure how to zoom out, but I'll deal with it. It's the narrowest part of Cass Street. Okay. Are you doing it?
Gabe is doing it. He's listening to you.
Okay, let's zoom back in. Wherever Gabe is.
Yep, he's right behind. He'll get, there you go. Great job, Gabe.
So what happens, okay, stop. So what happens is people turn onto Cow Street because it's blind, 27 feet, you can't see. So Park ends right there. And so people don't see, and they can't, and they turn onto Cass Street, and it's the narrowest part, and they turn into oncoming traffic by nature of the junction, this antiquated horse and buggy junction that I love. And, okay, I'm not dealing with this thing very well, but Melissa.
What can I do to help?
And so there's that, and that's one factor. It's a blind corner. The other factor is the bridge is out, which, to be honest with you, I like, because I like the walking bridge. But with full disclosure, I was told that bridge is going to come down anyway, because the railroad needs to have a double-decker. And so therefore, they're going to either increase the height of the bridge.
So we're gonna be discussing that next month, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah. But I think everybody should know, because I think we're all very fond of this walking bridge, and that it will potentially, most likely, come down because the railroad owns it. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right. So that may come down. So there's the factor of the blind corner. There's a factor of the bridge being shut down. And when I had to go around and do my petition, I was told by people that they are enraged by the bridge being down because they live on the other side of Park Street and they cannot access the other side. And that is so the blind corner, the bridge, the housing development, and the increase. I'm sorry, I'm not doing very well here. So the factors are the blind corner, the bridge being down, the housing development that Todd Baker created over on the other side on Wadley, increases the traffic flow substantially. And what's really, I think, important, people are going to say, well, how come you're bringing this up now when we don't see any evidence that there have been accidents in the past? Well, you can't compare empirical data with something that's new. Like the bridge is a brand new factor. That's not, you can't compare that data with the bridge being down and the new housing development. Does that make sense to anybody? Am I making any sense whatsoever?
No.
Okay. Okay, what do you not understand?
So can I just explain that you need to address the chair, and if the other people want to come up and ask questions, that's kind of how it works.
Okay.
So there's not back and forth between the audience and you.
Yeah, but
Okay.
if the bridges was open and everybody was flowing through and the traffic flow was normal at one point in time, and now it's abnormal because the bridge is down and people have to circumvent and go in different directions. And I had one person come up and turn that corner onto Cass Street, and he was outraged, and he said, my GPS told me that I could go over this bridge. So there are a lot of factors that have changed. But so I'm going to let other people speak right now, but I feel that the only thing that needs to be changed right now, all right, this is what happens. Okay, I've got it. People come up Park Street and they turn left. They go into oncoming traffic by nature of this horse and buggy junction. And when they realize that they're in oncoming traffic, they jut out just about my house. And I wish the guy that was standing next to me and talking with his dog the other day was here, because we almost got hit like a trillion times. People come up, they go into oncoming traffic, and by the time they get to my house, which is this one right here, they are basically tail spinning, and people go down. It's so narrow that they go down literally in the middle of the road. So it's very dangerous, and that's why when Jay Perkins came out, he said, yes, I agree, that's a very dangerous corner, and we need to put up no parking signs. So he put one, he planted it. I wish it was an azalea, but it was not. He planted a parking sign right on my yard, which it was good. That's what I asked for, right there, because that's exactly where the cars jut out when they are compensating for going into the... Does anybody understand what I'm saying now? Okay. They come into, and they jut out on this side of the road, and then they correct themselves, and they go down Cass Street. And it's a very dangerous intersection. As you can see, it's the narrowest part of Cass. And when I had to do my petition, and then the neighbors complained, or somebody, I don't know which of my neighbors, they're all here, they complained that it was violating 101.1 of the parking ordinance. And so I needed to go out and gather signatures for a petition. So I had 67 people sign a petition. And that's where I got all of my information. And I've actually had people say they don't want parking on Cass Street at all. And that's because of but these were people, that beautiful colonial that's down here, that's because they get the schoolhouse traffic. They get the traffic from Main Street. And who knows, I don't know what the civil engineer said that they are going to do with the townhouses. You can probably tell me. Are they going to put a stoplight down here or a traffic light down here? Because that will back up the Cass Street parking even more. But that's not relevant to up here. My only concern is right here, the traffic coming down Cass Street. The reason I don't think cars should be parking here is when these cars come up Park Street, turn left, and correct themselves, if there are cars parked here, it's like bumper cars. And Kyle, you said you don't want people parked on your side of the road, parked here either. I don't want people parked here in front of my house. I've almost gotten nailed before, and I saw a woman with her little dog in between cars almost get squished. So it's a very dangerous area to have cars parked on the western side, just as it was dangerous to have cars parked on the eastern side, which is there are no parking signs here as well, only during school hours, which seemed to me kind of like questionable, as the school traffic doesn't even go up that high. So you can't compare old data saying, well, there was never an accident before, because everything has changed. Now the bridge is out, and now Todd Baker has his housing development over there. Both of these increase the traffic flow on Cass Street and increase the probability of a fatality. And, I'm going to say this, for the town of Exeter, you're going to have many options to fix this. And I would hate to see this junction right here, this old horse and buggy junction, changed. This house here creates the blind spot, but you're not going to change. Who would ever ask somebody to change their front yard? It's not even reasonable. You don't change somebody's fence and their lilacs, their beautiful lilacs. And you don't, there are a lot of things that are just not right. And here, this bridge, I love this walking bridge. I hate to tell you all, if any of you signed the petition in that regard. I would hate to see that taken down. It would behoove the town of Exeter, and it would be safe for the town of Exeter to simply take the least expensive measure, which would be planting signs, no parking signs, and put a line right here to separate the turn so that people know that they have to stay on the right-hand side of the road when they make that turn. Those would be measures that the town of Exeter could take, because if there is a fatality and the town of Exeter doesn't do anything, they just simply say, well, we're going to think about doing a roundabout at some point in time, which I would hate to see this field.
Ms. Smith, I thank you. You've clarified your reasoning for making the request. And I'd like to stick with with that request. No, you've explained it perfectly, but I think before we let some of your neighbors speak,
okay.
Mr. Chartrand had a quick question for you.
Okay.
Is it true that you are extending your lot into the roadway?
That I like that question. Do you know why? Whoops. Because I have no. And I can tell you exactly why.
We have photographs in our packet.
I have photographs too.
Because if that is happening, that is absolutely not kosher.
It's not cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
No one should extend their lot into the roadway because they're not getting the results they want.
Do you want me to show you what I have?
Bring it on.
And I also have, since day one.
Those photos?
It's not her.
Those are different ones?
We only have the photos from the petitioner.
I have three pieces of evidence to that effect, because I think Steve told me that was a concern. I have, day one, I have this old assessment which shows the original lawn. And then I went down to Aiden, who's Meredith Stoper's son, and I said, hey, Aiden, where did you guys park? And he told me, oh, we parked right under the, right basically where the walkway came out in their house, right up against the house. Aiden told me that.
Are those your I don't mean to interrupt you. Are those your documents, or do you want those submitted to the board?
I would like these submitted.
Okay. Can I see them? We'll put them in the packet so that we have it for our next public hearing.
Yep. And
Great.
this shows
All to the chair, yeah.
the phone poles. So how could I possibly have gone out and the neighbor's yard goes even further?
Okay, then we're going to put that in for our next hearing, okay?
Okay, that's good.
So, Mr. Chair, just
Yes,
as
please, Mr. Cronin.
there has definitely been a contention between us and Ms. Patu over where her property line ends and where the right-of-way ends.
Mhm.
I will say that we don't have a
Could I let Mr. Cronin finish?
We don't
please?
have a consistent pavement width through that entire corridor. As you can see, this is aerial imagery, so it's hard to point it out exactly, but down at the Park Street end, the pavement actually narrows, and it narrows around the telephone pole, which is actually within the town's right-of-way, and then widens back out to the edge of the right-of-way, which abuts directly with that property line. So,
Say that again?
so the town's right-of-way in front of your property at 20 Cass Street meets right up with your property line. And we have paved all the way to that right-of-way. So we are paved right up to your property line.
Okay.
There's a survey that's been recorded at the registry. We viewed it. It shows property bounds for the property at 20 Cass Street, and it identifies the edge of pavement right up against those property lines. So even though the road does narrow beyond that, we're of the opinion that the town's right-of-way exists all the way up to the property line.
All right, thank you for explaining that.
And just to follow up on my
Please,
question.
Mr. Chartrand.
If it is indeed the case that this photo that I'm looking at is correct with the orange cones showing, leaf litter and grass flowing into the roadway over the curbing, that needs to stop.
Do you mind if I look at that?
These were in the packet? Yeah.
Your neighbors did a petition and they included this.
Okay, well,
This is what
Ms. Patu, at this point, you've explained your request.
Okay.
And I'd like to give your neighbors an opportunity to speak as well.
Okay.
And those are in our packet.
okay, that's.
It's online.
But let me say this, I'll just,
If you
go to the
wouldn't mind
microphone,
going to the mic, just so that they can hear at home, thank you.
when I first moved here, and I just want to follow up on this and then I'll complete. When I first moved here, right in front of my house, it was all rubble. And I asked Doug Eastman, I said, hey, this is all like totally messed up. The ground was all rubble, and I said, do you mind if I, fix it up with a fence and whatnot? And he said, sure, just make sure it's all, within the town's right-of-ways and whatnot. And so that's when I thought to myself, when I looked at that, I said, wait a minute, that goes way out, the town assessment, much further. And I said, I said to myself, well, I'm going to go talk to Aiden. And I asked him where they used to...
I can't, you're referencing conversations with folks that I don't know that they're here, so that's, I don't want to...
Oh, because I had... Aiden is Meredith Stolper's son.
I understand that, but I asked you, I wanted to understand, your request. I really don't want to get into a conversation you had with somebody who's not here, and it's not really relative to the request. So
I get that.
I'd love to hear from your neighbors, though, and if there's something that you want clarification or you want to add later after everyone else has had an opportunity to speak, we'd love to have you come back up.
Okay, but I did, I just reinstated it to where it was.
Okay.
The grass.
I think we understand.
That's all I did.
Ms. Roy.
If I may.
I don't know why my neighbors are,
Ma'am, I'd like to hear from them.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody has, everybody's home.
I think Ms. Ward has comments.
Melissa did.
Yeah. Did you have Melissa?
I just wanted to say that we did speak with Code Enforcement Officer Doug Eastman.
Yep.
And he is of the same opinion that the property line is where Steve Cronin and I are talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Sally Ward, 72 Park Street. I did live on Cass Street for 25 years before moving just around the corner, so I know the neighborhood well, I know the intersection well, but I just briefly wanted to offer historical perspective about parking on Cass Street. So for many years, myself and our neighbors saw that there was a problem with parking on Cass Street because there was a lot of school parking, parents dropping their kids off, and sometimes the teachers would park there all day, parking on both sides of the street. It just made the street too narrow. And so the neighbors had somewhat of a disagreement or a conversation about which side of the street should there be no parking. And we couldn't really decide, we couldn't come to a consensus. So the police intervened, and they drove up Green Street and saw that this is crazy. If there's an emergency vehicle that tries to turn from Green Street on Cass Street, they're not going to be able to do it. And so the police said it should be no parking on the east side. And so, this was way long time ago, back when Joe Pace was the select board chair. So I don't know how long ago that was, but it was a long time ago.
That was between 2000 and 2009. That would have.
Okay, so just thought I'd offer a little bit of historical perspective. And my view as a resident on Cass Street at that time and now was that there was a problem and it was solved. And I think that there's no longer a problem. It's my personal view, but I thought the historical perspective would be useful.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
My name is Kelly Richards. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I live at 25 Cass Street. This evening I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my neighbors, and we wish to respectfully voice our opposition to the proposed amendment to change the parking regulations on Cass Street. We've read the proposal, and thank you for correcting the record. In fact, the request was made by the resident at 20 Cass Street, not 22 Cass Street, as aforementioned. In the proposal, the resident cites safety concerns and concerns about accessing their driveway as the impetus for these changes. We have prepared copies of an exhibit binder that we'd like to submit as evidence.
Please.
You.
Exhibit A outlines the Town of Exeter Chapter 1 Parking Regulations, Section 100.1F, which prohibits parking within 30 feet of an intersecting street or road. The proposed parking request attempts to expand restricted parking to a point of 170 feet from the intersection. This proposal would therefore extend the no parking zone by an additional 140 feet. Correct? Yes, thank you. Given the significance of this request, we first considered the purported safety concerns of the proposal. Included in Exhibit B, you'll find a copy of the 2022 Town of Exeter Intersection Evaluation, a study that was conducted to evaluate safety concerns townwide. 88 local intersections were evaluated and ranked in order of recorded crashes. These are listed on pages 3 and 4 of the document. Cass Street nor Park Street appear at all on the list. We then reached out to the Records Department of Exeter Police to inquire if there had been any incidents reported at the intersection, and the response was no. Furthermore, in early 2025, the Park Street Bridge was permanently closed, which has resulted in a significant drop in traffic in the neighborhood. I live on the corner. I can attest to that. Therefore, we find no evidence to support claims of safety issues regarding allowable on-street parking at this intersection. Additionally, we find that the request to restrict parking to a point 170 feet from the intersection will have a negative impact on neighbors who live on our street. Many neighbors park their cars on the street in front of their homes and have done so for decades. The proposed restriction would create a hardship for these families. Please see Exhibit C for evidence of lot frontage for the residents of 18, 20, and 22 Cass Street, indicating how the proposed restriction would impact their current on-street parking privileges. Families whose children attend Main Street School also utilize on-street parking intermittently during the day. Since a no parking zone already exists on the easterly side of the street, the entire length from 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. on school days, these families would be similarly impacted by this proposal. Parking that is now allowed on the westerly side of the street would be diminished by an additional 140 feet. We're also concerned about the dangerous precedent this proposal would set if one resident's personal wishes were granted at the expense of the general public's lawful use of the roadway. The petitioner raises concerns about accessing their driveway and has in fact petitioned to have a personal no parking zone established in the front of their house. To achieve this end, the resident has systematically built out their front lawn onto the paved roadway to enlarge their property boundary. Since 2024, they have dumped loads of dirt on the asphalt.
Hold on one second, I'm just gonna touch base with Gabe. Excuse me.
Okay. Since 2024, they've dumped loads of dirt onto the asphalt, planting grass seed and using rocks, broken bricks, and granite pavers to create a front lawn which stretches an additional 3 to 5 feet into the public roadway.
If I can just do this real quick, because I just want to make sure, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay.
This is what we get with technology every once in a while. Thank you. Is that on? Good?
Large safety cones, can you hear me? Large safety cones have been used to further discourage parking on the roadway.
Is it? Oh, it started working.
It started.
Given that the petitioner's concerns about driveway access, given that the petitioner's concerns about driveway access seem contradictory. When placing obstructions in the road, the resident is in fact impeding vehicular traffic and obstructing their own driveway access. This is in violation of Chapter 5 of Exeter's Highway Use Regulations, noted in Exhibit D, whereby no person, firm, or corporation shall place any object, item, or material, or allow or cause any object, item, or material to be placed upon any town-maintained street, roadway, right-of-way, sidewalk, or parking lot, so as to obstruct vehicle or pedestrian traffic. Such objects shall include, but not limited to, snow, ice, dirt, gravel, sand, signs, or other obstructions. Photo evidence is provided in Exhibit D as well. So in closing, we reiterate that we respectfully oppose the proposed amendment to change the parking regulations on Cass Street. We find no credible evidence of safety concerns regarding the intersection with Park Street, nor the on-street parking. The proposed changes would have a negative impact on the neighborhood and local families, as well as set a bad precedent for other residents to petition for similar considerations, potentially causing havoc throughout the town. We also forcefully object to the petitioner's deliberate obstruction of the public roadway on Cass Street, and respectfully request that the impediments be immediately removed. This we consider a safety hazard. So I thank you for your time. For the record, I would like to recognize the residents of Cass and Park Street, our neighborhood, who have signed this statement, are in attendance this evening. If you could just indicate by a show of hands. We have Marnia Page at 18 Cass Street, Rich Page, 18 Cass Street, Tricia Henderson at 10 and 12 Cass Street, Susan Heel at 14 Cass Street, Karen Lemire and Tom Coates at 31 Park Street, Kevin Fleming at 11 Cass Street, Kayoko Tazawa at 22 Cass Street, Simonita Thurber at 32 Park Street, and Elizabeth Morse at 4 Cass Street. I'll, just as a final note, I'll submit a map that is colored in to indicate the neighborhood who signed this petition, and the statement that I read, I'll leave it with you, and you can see which neighbors oppose the parking changes.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Thank you for providing copies for each of the board member, and I can take what you'd like entered into the record from you if you'd like. And
Mr. Chair, would you like that put in the packet, anything given tonight put in the packet for next hearing?
absolutely, please.
Thank you.
While we're changing over, can I just let these
Yep.
guys know that when you're recording it, this is live on the Exeter TV channel, so you can record it right from there if you need to. So you don't have to hold your phone up if you want. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you very much. Is there any other public comment?
I can respond.
Can we I want to make sure everybody has a chance to speak first, though. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kayoko Tazawa. I live on 22 Cass Street, the corner. I'm glad to know the 30 feet from the intersection is no parking zone. Yet, when the big festival, like a beer festival happens, or school, like a nightly event, they're parking there. And when that happens, when I'm coming home from this direction, sometimes I felt a little weird because I'm trying to turn in, but it's so narrow. So if there would be no parking sign where the phone pole is, which is about 32 feet in, that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Good evening.
I'm Liz Morse. I live with my family at 4 Cass Street, so at the other end, so maybe we could zoom out a tad.
Just give him a second. He's usually pretty good. There you go. Thank you, Gabe.
So we live on the Main Street side, and we are that tiny little lot, about 3 in on the left-hand side. And we are the, to get a picture of here. Oh, thanks.
Hold the top one.
Yeah.
And it should pop up.
There we go. We're at 4 Cass Street there. We also have the only young children. I have 3 daughters, none of which are of driving age, but they are of scooter age. And they scoot their way up and down Cass Street on the regular. And we have parking, we have the full brunt of Main Street school parking on our side of the street all the time. And quite frankly, I think that the more parking that's on the street causes people to slow down. And our big concern is people going very quickly down that street. And the on-street parking causes people a little bit to slow down and, think about their speed, which I think is actually a safety benefit as opposed to like a safety concern. I don't think that we're at a place where we could ever widen Cass Street. We need to do the things that we can do to make it safe. I have never felt like that a no parking zone was something that was going to make my children safer on Cass Street where they are all the time. And I have no further comment, but that is our feeling on our side of the street.
Thank you very much for offering that. Any other comment? If there's something that you would like to answer to that was said, please address the board. It's not for a conversation with your neighbors, but if you would briefly like to just comment on anything that you feel the board should hear, then you may do so. Please do. Yep. But please address the board and briefly.
I'm trying to remember some of the points that Ms. Richards said, but this is not for my personal benefit, the parking. It's not for my personal parking spot. What I was speaking to was in regard to safety only. Cars literally do, and you have to be on my side of the street. See when they come around that corner and they tail in and do tail spins down Cass Street. It's not for my personal parking spot. I don't know where
Ms. Pitt, if you could address
Yes,
I have a suggestion, if I may.
Yeah, I don't know what she meant by
Sure.
my parking access to my driveway,
Her
though.
presentation is going to be in the next packet. Remember, this is the first of 3 hearings, so perhaps you'd feel more comfortable reviewing the packet, and then if you wish to speak to it at the next hearing, you would have that opportunity, but
Okay, well, 2 factors I can answer to right now. I don't know what this access to my driveway situation was, because I have pure access to my driveway. As far as comparing data from past history to accidents from then to now, the dynamics have changed substantially. The housing development and also the bridge situation being out, those dynamics have changed completely. So you really can't compare.
we understand that, and you made
Okay.
that point
So I'm
previously.
making
Yeah.
that response. It's not, this whole situation with no parking in front of my house is not personal. It's not my personal parking situation, as Ms. Richards mentioned, has nothing to do with me. It's like almost getting creamed being there. And the situation with the neighbors. Steve Cronin mentioned that some of my neighbors don't have garages. They all have garages. I walk down, but some of them don't keep them, they don't allow them, they don't clean them up so that they're.
Well, I'm going to stop you right
Yeah,
here. You've
they
made your point.
They don't allow,
Yeah.
they don't clean them up for
Okay.
their cars to be able to.
And remember, we're going to have 2 more hearings, so this packet will be, you can have an opportunity to review it, and then certainly
Yeah,
we'll see you back on
yeah.
June 1st. But thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is there any other public comment before we close the public hearing? I want to give everybody an opportunity. Do you have comments, sir? If you could just go to could you just go to the mic and introduce yourself for the record? Thank you.
Just a quick thing.
Thank you.
Chris Baker, I live up on Smith Avenue, actually. But I'm just a little concerned that this is kind of an arbitrary thing, and I don't want my other neighbors to start doing things like this in my neighborhood. So I hope you're a little bit, I hope you think about the impact to other people in town, because this can disturb a neighborhood, and I don't want that happening where I live.
So I'll answer it this way. It's a great point. Any citizen has a right to suggest a recommendation. It goes to the town staff. It goes to the town manager's office. They brought it to the select board. That's the procedure.
Okay.
The select board wanted to hear from the neighborhood. That's why we're having 3 public hearings. Last year, we did the same thing for another neighborhood. There was somebody that made a recommendation, came before the board. So procedurally, we have to have 3 public hearings.
Yep.
We have to give the citizen their right to express, their recommendation. We want to hear from the neighborhood. We are excited when we can fill this room so that we can hear from each and every one of you. And the reason we have 3 here, well, first of all, we have to have 3 hearings, but it allows us an opportunity to meet and speak with all of you, hear your testimony, see photographic evidence, see up there, talk to staff, and then we make a determination. If we make a determination to change something, it's based upon the evidence, and we do take into consideration how it would impact the entire neighborhood.
Right, that's what I guess that's my curious point, is does it automatically switch the rules for other neighborhoods?
No.
Or is it a case-by-case issue?
So if somebody comes to the town manager's office and makes a recommendation, it's done in a public select board meeting.
Yep.
They bring it up, and the select board reviews the evidence and decide whether or not to have 3 public hearings. I think we did one last year where somebody came with a recommendation. The neighborhood showed up. We talked with Mr. Cronin, and we ended up, not moving forward with that recommendation based upon testimony from the neighbors, but also testimony from Public Works and the police department. So it is a case-by-case situation, but the criteria remains the same.
All right, that's what my...
And I think Mr. Roy wanted to add to that.
Mr. Chair, if I may, within our ordinance, actually, we list the neighborhoods or intersections that it isn't based on our prescribed 30 feet from the intersection or something like that. So if, for example, when we had a request last year, if they had decided the entire neighborhood was in favor of a change and it supported the entire neighborhood, and the board felt that the safety issues were met, it would only change that one street within the ordinance. It wouldn't then precipitate a change in the rest of the neighborhood. I think that's what you're asking?
Right.
Okay, perfect.
I think that would be fair.
Yes. What
Individually, case by case.
it gets itemized, yes.
That's really my concern.
Yes, Mr. Chartrand.
I'd like to address your question. Personally, for myself, as a select board member, I tend to be very conservative about enacting individual citizens' requests, especially when they're at odds with the preponderance of their neighbors. That doesn't typically play for me. So,
Well, you don't want to, have a crowd overcome somebody's individual rights, but at the same time, I don't want an arbitrary neighbor, especially when moving in, saying, okay, we're going to change everything. And
the streets are for everyone in the town.
Right.
They're not for one individual.
Thanks.
Any other comment? Please.
My name is Susan Heel, and I live at 14 Cass Street. My partner is Walter Scott Carlisle III. He is the fourth generation who has lived at 14 Cass Street. His great-grandfather built the house. The house has been where it is since 1888. The parking's been the way it is, except for there was a time when there was horse and buggy. But I'd like to say that our street has been, I've been there 36 years, and our street is very cohesive. Our neighbors, we really look out for one another. And not only do we not mind the traffic, we love the kids. We love the school. We love that they park at the end of our driveway. We all know at 3 or 3:30, maybe get an ice cream, come back at 4. It's not putting us out. Exeter is a lovely town. It's about people. I go driving. I drive probably more than anyone else on our street. I drive a lot. I drive to Maine. I go out of my driveway much more and go north than I do south. I have never been threatened, felt like someone's going to hit me, felt like someone was in my lane at that corner. Yes, every road you go on that's small, that's got houses and parking and dogs, you have to watch. But I'll say something else. We have more people that don't live on our street that walk their dogs on our street. And so they wouldn't be doing that if they were fearing all the time that they were going to be hit. And as Liz said from 4 Cass Street, her little girls, they come up and down the street on their scooters. Their father does too. And it's fun. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's a neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want safety. We want to consider everyone. But when the majority of the people love the way they have been living for a very long time and it has worked, it's kind of odd to have, it's like someone comes in, doesn't quite fit in or doesn't quite understand it or doesn't have kids or they don't have the same feeling. It changes things. We're okay, but we really want our street to remain one where people love living on this street. Thank you.
Thank you for deciding to speak up. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other comment? I think we're going to wait till the second hearing when after you review everything, okay? Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other comment before I close the public meeting? Okay. And again, we will be having the second reading June 1st. So seeing as there's no other public comment, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing at this time.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. We'll see everybody back at Cass Street on June 1st.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I put that in order.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Up next is the public hearing pursuant to RSA 31:95B3A, and this is the first of three readings regarding Wadley Street. Notice is hereby given that the Select Board of the Town of Exeter will hold a public hearing consisting of three readings in the Novak Room, 10 Front Street, Exeter, for the purpose of complying with the provisions of RSA 31:95B3A for proposed change to traffic control signage on Wadley Street at Forest Street. The first reading will be Monday, May 18th, 2026. The second reading will be Monday, June 1st, 2026, and the third reading will be Monday, June 15th, 2026. Each reading will begin at 7 p.m., and this was dated and posted May 8th, 2026. At this time, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing pursuant to the Wadley Street recommendation.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Ms. Roy and/or Mr. Cronin, you could speak to this?
Sure. So the Public Works Department has received concerns from several neighborhood residents regarding traffic operations and driver behavior in the vicinity of the Wadley Street, Forest Street intersection. Those have increased somewhat with the construction of the new Rose Farm development. They've requested consideration of increased traffic enforcement, additional traffic calming measures, and potentially the conversion of the intersection to a three-way stop. We have done isolated speed monitoring out there, hasn't identified a speeding issue. However, there is some driver misbehavior when it comes to the stop conditions that are out there. So, in speaking with both the police and fire departments, they did not express any concerns over converting this to a three-way stop. There's a similar condition that exists on both sides of this intersection, so it wouldn't necessarily be out of place for this neighborhood. But we wanted to hear from residents and get their feedback before considering implementing that to this intersection.
Mr. Chartrand.
So it kind of looks like a weird four-way stop, but that's not a road, that's a driveway, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, yep.
So the driveway is actually kind of a straight extension of Forest Street?
It is, and the alignment that's shown right now for the new Rose Farm development is a little bit incorrect on the image. It actually lines up more with Wadley Street than is shown right now.
Okay, great.
So, right now, there is a stop sign leaving the new Rose Farm development and one on Forest Street, but there is not one headed into Rose Farm from Wadley.
So the three stop signs would be on the Rose Farm Road, whatever that's called, on Wadley Street and on Forest Street, correct? And the driveway would not have a stop sign?
Nothing would change for the driveway.
They just have an even shot at getting out of their driveway by the stop signs. Got it.
Any other questions?
Sure.
One moment. I'm going to open it up to the public now. I do want to state for the record, in our packet, we have two emails that were sent from folks that live in the neighborhood. The first is from Caroline and Nate Piper at 8 Forest Street in favor of the three-way stop sign, and also from Ann Kenny at 3 Walnut Street in favor of the three-way stop sign and would even consider a four-way stop sign. So those two pieces are in our packet. It's open to the public now. Mrs. Ruffner?
Okay.
Please, yeah. Thank you. We like to be consistent.
Okay, Florence Ruffner, and I'm one of the owners of the jail. And I'm just curious which corners you're talking about, that's all. I want to know what corners you're talking about putting the signs up.
Mr. Crone? He's going to show you on the map.
So there's a stop sign right here now in Rose Farm, which is also going to be called Wadley There's a stop sign right here on Forest Street. The third stop sign would be here on Wadley.
Okay, that's all I have. Do you have anything?
Louis Ruffner, also partner and owner of the jailhouse. What does this circle represent?
Just the area that we're discussing.
Okay.
Yep.
So what changes from going from, there's 2 stop signs now, a third stop sign, does that change any amount of parking restricted?
No.
What?
Well,
30.
I guess yes. If it's an intersecting road, you wouldn't be able to park within 30 feet of that intersection.
So all 3 streets, the other 2 with stop signs already,
Yep.
is that both sides of the road? You can't park 30
Correct.
feet?
Yes.
Because some people park there, I've noticed, within that 30 feet now. And if it becomes a 4-way, is there any other restrictions or things that limit parking or distances?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Ruffner.
Hi, Sheila Roy, 3 Salem Street. So I'm on the corner of Salem and Wadley. You gotta love it, so let's see.
You just have to take the microphone with you.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. We want the camera to...
Corner, oh, God. It's a corner of Salem and Wadley. So anyway, long story short, since I put in the new development, I have seen numerous police officers out front of my house. They're always parked on Wadley Street. They continuously monitor the corner where they're coming down, whatever that street is. They're supposed to, Forest Street, take a right, stop. The other day I saw a young woman fly through the railroad tracks when the gate was coming down. So, it's a great thing that Exeter's bringing in these $1 million homes. However, there's a lot of young kids in that new Rose Farm development. I see them take that right down Wadley, and my neighbor Kelly Mertenook, she is a quad when she has to go to the hospital. Again, this was a concern when the Rose Farm went up. You have an ambulance, you have the fire truck. So now, in addition to, people just trying to, make it to the hospital, you got these kids flying, and then they fly up the street. So what I would like to propose is when you cross the railroad tracks onto Salem, you take a right onto Wadley, make that a one-way street down into the new development. Then, when they have to come back out, because remember, unfortunately, Wadley's the only exit out of the new development that the town proposed. Not a good idea, however, so maybe when they come out of the new development, you take a right onto, what is that, Forest? Then you have to take a left. Then the traffic is slower. The speed is slower. So I propose, Sheila Roy, again, I can present you with videos, I can give you pictures. I would really like the town to actually, give me back part of my lawn that was taken away by the 18-wheelers that used to back up Wadley Street onto Salem Street, which I know the police were aware of because I showed up, you know what I mean? So that's my proposal. You go down Wadley, you go through the new development, you come up, you take a right on Forest, and go out that way.
If I may.
Ms. Roy, please.
Miss Roy, which is funny because
I know. I heard that too.
It's a big plan.
No relation, just so everybody knows. If I can just get your contact information.
absolutely.
So what I will do is when I get your email or your phone number, we'll touch base, and that way that Steve, the DPW director, and I can make sure that we're reviewing your request the right way.
Okay,
if that's okay with you, because I don't think we can answer that tonight because
It's a little out of the context of this discussion.
It's a little bit,
It's been a long 26 years, and that development really, guys. I went down the spring
I'm
the
going to
other
have
day.
you write it right here, if
Oh,
that's
okay.
okay.
Well, I'll give it to
Thank you. You're
I'm
welcome.
just trying to keep it safe.
You're fine, no problem. Thank you.
Did you have anything else, Ms. Roy, or can we move on?
That is it. I
No,
just want
that, Ms. Roy.
Oh, sorry.
Step right up.
Hi, I'm Karen Dangora, and thank you for taking the request for a stop sign. I appreciate you addressing the issue. A resident of 6 Wadley Street for 14 years, I'm concerned about the changes to traffic on our street since the building of the Rose Farm development. Cars go too fast into the development and also speed out of the development. Large dump trucks, cement trucks, tractor trailers, heavy equipment trailers, and numerous commercial vehicles now drive up and down Wadley Street daily. Traffic from new neighbors and crews that work on the houses are also driving down and up Wadley Street a few times each day. People are not careful, and we have older residents, differently abled residents that require access to street parking for a wheelchair lift. Children from the school bus, we have pets, young families with little ones on foot, in strollers, and on bikes, and just many walkers on our street. It's a nice neighborhood. We're experiencing dangerous interactions with cars and trucks that are too close for safety and comfort. I'm asking for a stop sign on Wadley Street at the intersection of Forest Street to slow down traffic when crossing Forest and also taking a left onto Forest. The stop sign when leaving the development is also misplaced, and it's not in a driver's line of sight, leading to many drivers running the stop sign currently in place. I ask that this sign be aligned properly for the intersection. I also ask that the police enforce these stop signs to keep our neighborhood safe and walkable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sally Ward, 72 Park Street. So we have interrelated issues here. Because the bridge is out, the traffic pattern has changed in this neighborhood in addition to the pattern changing because of the Rose Farm development. And my experience, I used to come up Park Street to get to my house. I can't do that anymore, so I come through this neighborhood. And I very much appreciate the four-way stop at the intersection of Salem and Oak. I don't remember, honestly, if that was a four-way stop before the bridge went out, but it's a great place to have a four-way stop. And I think, I don't go to the Wadley intersection as often, but I think it's a good idea to slow traffic down because there will be increased traffic. So I think it's a good idea.
Thank you very much. Sir?
I'm Pete Nikitas. I'm over at 5 Wadley. If you guys want to put a four-way stop, that's actually my driveway that I share with 2 other residents. So if you want us to stop when we leave, we still do. But if you want to pop that in, cool. But we haven't been here very long. We're not part of Rose Farm. My wife and I and our about 8-month son, Nolan. So we're in our stroller walking around the lot recently. And from our living room, we see a significant amount of people, again, plowing through the stop signs is a separate issue. I think enforcing those is first and foremost. And then we are a huge proponent of that stop sign, which would literally be in front of our shared driveway with 2 different residents at, 3 and 7 Wadley. I can't comment enough on how fast the cars, and some of the cars flying in are some of our new friends that we've met that are part of Rose Farms. Some of them, most of them are actually the construction workers, the trucks, the trailers, the speed at which they go through. And if somebody asked me to write down the name of the license plate, the truck, how many times they go through in a given week, literally it is so consistent, whether it is residential people or just the builders themselves. It is just so dangerous, the amount of times we see people. Again, it's a very kid-friendly neighborhood. Kids riding their scooters, families walking, dogs walking. Karen has a cat that just likes to roam around there. Pepper, we call him Larry because we didn't know for a while. But it is crazy how when you get to the corner of Wadley, where we want the intersection, Forest and Wadley, people can stop there and turn right or go left into the new development, but you don't know what's happening with the cars flying in to Wadley. You don't know if they're going to go 40 miles an hour straight. You don't know if they're going to take that turn 25 miles per hour, go left, and there's a bit of a runoff area where a lot of residents park sometimes, which is very nice and helpful for people, I'm sure. But you don't have much room to avoid the speed. So we are a big proponent of adding in that additional stop sign. And again, Karen mentioned this as well, but I think if we are able to get that stop sign put in, it will slow the traffic down. Then how fast they go into the neighborhood, that's a separate issue from there. It's not where we live directly. But I think that would really slow it down. And then from there, I think it's a matter of truly enforcing it, whether it's just for an interim amount of time. I think, if someone gets a ticket, they're bound to slow down and tell everybody, hey, you should slow down. We're all going to get tickets. So rather than, beat a dead horse, so to say, we really are good with that third stop sign. And if you want to put the fourth one in, cool, it's our driveway. So we'll stop anyway. We don't want to get hit.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. So while, this is the first of 3 hearings, what I'm hearing from the neighborhood is maybe you'll have a conversation, if you can, with anybody that is driving a big truck about speed. And Ms. Roy, I think we could contact Chief McCain, and
We'll talk with Chief McCain.
we can at least look into that while we're hearing the other 2 hearings. So,
I actually have a question.
Please, Mr. Chartrand.
Would it be possible to put a temporary, raised table in that intersection during construction period? Just to make sure that or is that just not really possible?
We haven't done that before. I think it's something we could look into, though. I definitely want to have
Because that would
conversation.
definitely, you take the bottom of your truck or
prior
car.
to doing that, but it's an interesting idea,
You
not
take
just
the
for this
bottom of-
project, but future projects.
You'd take the bottom of your truck or car out if you didn't observe the table. And I don't know if it's cost effective to do it temporarily or permanently or whatever, but it occurs to me that it worked in front of Lincoln Street School.
Yep.
When we put that table in, that was part of, and that might have been a very expensive thing, so.
And you'll follow up with Chief McCain?
I will follow up with Chief McCain. We will talk about, Steve Cronin and I will talk about some of the options that were presented tonight and come prepared for the next meeting.
And as Karen mentioned also, the current location of the stop sign leaving Wadley isn't ideal. It's something we've discussed internally. It needs to be relooked at. It could require some reconfiguration of that side of the road, but we'll take a closer peek at that as well.
Thank you.
And just as, I apologize if I may.
Please.
The town doesn't own that road yet, correct?
Not yet.
That is some of the issue, if I remember correctly, that it hasn't been turned over to.
Jurisdictionally,
Yeah.
we don't have the ability to enforce a whole lot out there right now because it's not a public way. We've passed those concerns on to the contractor. We've reiterated them multiple times. We try to make routine paroles out there. I know PD has increased their enforcement out there. Building department as well has been out there routinely, so it's not lost on us. However, our hands are tied a little bit.
Do we have control of the intersection, though?
We do, yes.
What we're proposing tonight, we have the ability to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Any other public comment? Please. You're next.
I'm Mark Furlong from 24th Street, right there. I'm not really terribly impacted by this intersection, but I totally support the changing it to a 3-way. The 2 nearest intersections, Forest and Oak and Salem and Oak, are both 4-way stop and very needed. And I've seen people fly through that intersection. I totally agree with the comment about the placement of the stop sign. There's a lot of transient people, especially right now while that development's still being built. They come out there, they're not seeing that stop sign at all. And there was one day about a month ago when there was tree work going on Oak Street, which is how I normally exit the neighborhood. And I headed down towards Wadley, and a car came flying out without even slowing down, never mind stopping. So I definitely support that, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.
My name is Barbara Desjardins, and I live on Brookside Drive, 50 Brookside Drive in Exeter. And I've been a resident in Exeter for over 20 years. Now, as you know, I don't live on Wadley. However, I am a walker. And every morning, I walk my little dog, and Wadley Street is where I go, coming down from behind the Norrisburg condominiums, down that little trail by the spring, and then up and down Forest, and then Wadley, and then down Summer and over to Cass, and sometimes over the bridge, and other times over by RJ's. But one thing I just want to mention, I am all for another stop sign where, Karen, what Karen mentioned earlier in her testimony, because it is so dangerous. You have to watch all the time of who is coming, and you have to always be, of course, on the proper side of the road, which I always make an effort to do that. But cars are coming, and nobody is really looking to see, if a pedestrian is there. And also, Wadley does not have any sidewalks either, and a lot of the little side streets don't have sidewalks. So that you have to be very careful of how far you are walking. You have to be way over, practically on the neighbor's grass. So I'm just putting a plug in for that stop sign. That's all.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment?
I'm going to say just one more. Just follow up on that. Again, Sheila Roy, 3 Salem Street, and again, just so everybody's aware, they did put a $2.4 million sidewalk in front of my house. Again, to have the people have the ability to walk to downtown. I heard the new thing is Exeter's going to be bike and walk friendly because of all the condos that are coming in. Again, $2.4 million sidewalk, again, 1 Salem, 3 Salem, and now you can't even really have the ability to walk down Wadley like Barbara said, because again, people are flying down there. And hopefully it doesn't take 3 deaths for something to happen.
Thank you. Sir? And I want to thank you for your patience because you got here at 6:30.
My name is John Gromek, and I live at 25 Forest, the other end of it. So I'm not directly affected by this, but I'll use all 3 streets to go into town or to leave. I use Wadley a lot by car or by bike. I use Wadley more often by bike. I just think from a safety point of view, it's be a big plus to have that 3rd sign. It would be, as they say in Europe, traffic calming to have that sign in there. And then all the points that Karen made, I agree with. So I'm just a vote in favor of that sign.
Appreciate
Anything to quiet things down.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. The public hearing is closed, and we will have the second reading again on June 1st, 7 o'clock, right here in the Novak room. Thank you, folks. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Okay, our next agenda item is a update on the CSO barrel project. We have Public Works Director Steve Cronin, Water Sewer Director Steve Dalton. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you both for coming. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So we'd like to provide an update on the Clemson Pond Combined Sewer Overflow Project and explain the request before you tonight for the use of sewer reserve funds. The 2 combined sewer overflows, or CSO barrels, and the Clemson Pond outfall are part of the town's wastewater system and are regulated through the town's discharge permit. The CSO barrels themselves were installed in 1964. They're 36 inches in diameter and run beneath the Squamscott River from Swayze Parkway to Clemson Pond. In March of 2025, town meeting approved the use of $500,000 in excess bond proceeds to complete cleaning and inspection of those CSO barrels. The intent of the project was to assess the condition of the barrels and the outfall and determine whether any additional work was necessary to ensure that they remain functional. Following an engineering evaluation and development of the project scope, the town accepted a proposal from In Situ Form Technologies in the amount of $249,018 to complete the work. In February of this year, the project began with the cleaning and inspection of the southern barrel. This work took approximately 11 days to complete and for the most part progressed as expected, with the exception of approximately 20 additional hours of cleaning needed to remove accumulated material from the pipe. Work then shifted to the northern barrel on February 16th. Cleaning operations progressed intermittently due to several weather-related delays. On March 5th, during dewatering and cleaning operations, contaminated material was discovered in the pipe. After further investigation, it was determined that the contamination encountered was likely associated with the former manufactured gas plant site located at 280 Water Street, which is now under the care of Unitil. Town staff immediately contacted our project consultant, Wright Pierce, who then coordinated with AECom, the firm overseeing remediation efforts at the gas site, on behalf of Unitil. Believing the gas to be the source of the contamination, AECom coordinated the mobilization of frac tanks and containment equipment to safely manage the contaminated solids and liquids. Although work resumed on March 16th, the project became increasingly more complicated. Additional weather delays, environmental sampling requirements, disposal protocols, equipment issues, and modification of the complete cleaning process all contributed to multiple extensions of the anticipated March 27th completion date. On April 15th, following the receipt of the March invoice and another extension of the projected completion date, the town requested an accounting of any outstanding invoices from In Situ Form. At that time, we were informed of additional unanticipated charges related to cofferdam rental from In Situ Form subcontractor GVC, along with added costs for generator fueling and operations. At that point, the project was immediately suspended with approximately 125 feet of the northern barrel still requiring cleaning and inspection. Unfortunately, due to the numerous delays and increased efforts associated with the unanticipated contamination and remediation, the total project cost to date has now reached approximately $623,000, which is about $124,000 over the originally authorized budget. That figure reflects work completed to date and does not include the remaining unfinished portion of the northern barrel. Staff is currently working with our consultants, Unitil and AECom, to identify the costs specifically associated with the contamination mitigation. We met with Unitil early today, and discussions are ongoing regarding potential responsibility for those expenses. However, at this point, we cannot confirm what portion of those costs, if any, Unitil intends to fund. I would also note that we've been consulting with New Hampshire DES regarding this issue. We met with them late last week to provide additional context regarding both the project and the contamination, and they've asked that we keep them apprised of any further developments. So at this point, we're requesting the authorization of sewer reserve funds in the amount of $123,731 to cover the current project overage associated with the work completed to date.
Thank you, Mr. Cronin. Regarding your meeting today, has Unitil indicated why they feel that there's no liability on their end?
Unitil believes that they're responsible for just the contaminated material, treating it, disposing of it properly, not necessarily the labor that would be associated with removing the solid material that we'd have to remove as part of this project anyway.
So with that said, then they're willing to continue to discuss with you some sort of third-party reimbursement of at least what they feel?
They didn't necessarily commit to that today. They did commit to ongoing discussions about it. We don't have, it's hard to make a connection to the overage and exactly the amount of work that went into remediation of the contaminated material. So that's what we're in the process of trying to determine right now. And I think once we have that, we can have further conversations with them about whether or not there's any potential for restitution. They realize that there's more material out there that we wish to probably have removed at some point. We are requesting quotes from firms to do that. But until we have those numbers and we can give them more information on what that may cost, we're in a bit of a holding pattern right now.
Okay, I understand that.
Nico, could I ask you a question?
Please, Mr. Chartrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When you say you're trying to generate quotes, is it from the existing vendor or are you broadening the search?
We're broadening at this point.
Great.
So our existing vendor had some difficulty as we neared that 125 feet that we couldn't get to. They felt it was going to take some additional, maybe mechanical means to remove it. We spoke with other contractors that feel there might be other methods that might be more appropriate, so we want to explore all those avenues before we decide how we're going to proceed.
And just to follow up.
Please.
And if you don't want to answer this, I would understand. Is it possible that we could maybe get a similar situation to what Mr. Vlasic negotiated where there was a fixed cost so that we
The
could,
lump sum.
Yeah, the lump sum, so that we could take the X factor out of this going forward?
We haven't approached any vendors with that yet, but that's something that we could discuss.
I like that idea.
Keep that in your quiver. Okay, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Selectwoman Belanger?
So if we approve the funds to use from the sewer reserve funds, is it possible that any of the potential reimbursement could be used to put back into the reserve funds? Or would that be almost two separate issues because we don't know?
If I may,
Yes.
would it be possible for us to invite Finance Director Stevens
We would
up?
love for Finance
Would that be
Director
okay?
Stevens to step up. To,
I know he's
he's looking
Just
for a
the-
way out, but he's cornered.
Thank
I
you.
just want to make sure he has the opportunity
It's a question
to.
that I just don't even know if it's possible.
You'll need to get to a mic, Corey, sorry.
Funds sometimes have the unique.
Correct. So what I believe what Selectwoman Belanger is talking about is sometimes when we receive reimbursement, they don't get to go back to a particular fund. They have to go to fund balance or something like that. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, it is.
For? I will be honest and tell you that I'm not even sure we've had this conversation, so I don't mean to put you on the. Yeah, sorry.
So I'd say yes. It would end up back in the sewer reserve because either A, we would have spent it and then we would have been reimbursed and it would have fallen to the bottom line, or B, we would have not spent it, we would have been given some kind of compensation and we would have never have spent the reserve that was authorized. So
That's why I-
authorize what you need, and at the end of the day, it's going to end up back in reserve if we have any compensation from an outside party.
Thank you.
Current balance is somewhere between 6.5 and 7 million. We're still working through the 12/31/25.
Was my follow-up question. See?
And I also want to add,
Thank you.
and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
you
off, but
didn't. You were fine. Thank you.
I also wanted to add that the Water and Sewer Advisory Chair, Bob Kelly, had a meeting with the executive team, Mr. Cronin and me, and he is aware of the situation. He's aware of the request, and I don't know, Mr. Cronin, if you want to just comment on that briefly. He seemed to be along with this.
Yeah, so we will need to speak with the Water Sewer Advisory Committee at some point in a formal manner, but we have incurred these costs at this point, and so we have an obligation to pay, and that was sort of the need to come as soon as possible to make this request so that we can fulfill those obligations.
And he understood that request, and he also understands that, as you said, you'll be formally presenting to them and probably coming back to the board for part 2.
Yep.
Did you have any other
I
questions?
don't. Thank you.
Can you just speak to, Mr. Chartrand, did you have another?
No.
Okay. You spoke about DS. Obviously, we're going to, comply with anything that they hand our way. Can you speak to the unfinished work and why it may be advantageous to continue doing that now rather than waiting?
Yep. So we explored all options after we ran into this material and had some difficulty removing it. We went back to DES and said, is there any possibility here that maybe we could seal off one of these siphons and be able to operate with just one? According to the regulation and our permit, we have to keep both siphons in place and operational. So at that point, we basically resigned ourselves to the fact that this material then needs to be cleaned out. The inspection of the first siphon determined that we are getting some infiltration into that pipe. We haven't figured out exactly where that is. We believe there are probably some joints under the river that are potentially leaking. We expect to find that same condition on the second siphon. Once we have the material cleaned out, it would be preferable to line these, if possible, in place to seal off that infiltration and basically protect those for the long term. We see that as probably a 50-year life expectancy doing that. We know that we're going to have to annually inspect these, so we think it would be a worthwhile investment to get it done while we're already mobilized to remove the material and we're in an opportunity to do it.
Thank you. And I'm going to take a page out of your book. When folks at home hear the word contaminate, there may be, who knows what they're thinking. If you could just explain exactly what that means in this case.
So the coal gasification plant that was at, I believe it was 280 Water Street, some of the material from that made its way into the ground, and there's a groundwater capture zone that actually extends out into Swayze Parkway. The work that we were doing was technically outside of that groundwater capture zone, but for whatever reason, somehow material has migrated into the CSO barrel. We're not exactly sure right now how it got in there. We have some theories whether it could be coming from structures upstream or from the river. There were efforts in the river years ago to mitigate a lot of contamination that had been identified there. We believe that that has all been cleaned up, so this could be a legacy issue that's just now arriving through the cleaning of these pipes. During the construction of main pump station, there was some sampling done out there. We didn't uncover any contamination issues with that, so we really thought we were probably in the clear going into this project, but unfortunately that wasn't the case.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Cronin or Mr. Dalton?
And when we say, we're talking about CSO siphons here, not the sewer siphons that we were working on a couple of years ago. Two different sets of siphons.
Combined sewer overflow.
Thank you.
CSO.
Thank you, that's good. So just for folks that remember that we had work that we were doing on those sewer siphons, those are different than what we're talking about now.
They are, yes. Some of that precipitated this work. Obviously, we found the condition of the sewer siphons. It wasn't ideal. That became a pretty big project. We figured these are the same vintage. We should really make sure that these are in better condition. Based on the inspections that we've done, they are. The structural integrity's there. We think they can remain in place if they're relined now before they get to a point where they are in failure.
And these are mainly used when we have a lot of rainfall, precipitation, and
Correct. If the sewer system were to become overwhelmed, essentially, this is the outlet for that. This is really the overflow that ends up going to the river.
It goes under the river and flows to Clemson Pond.
Correct. We haven't had an issue like that in several years.
There you go. And which is why we want, those pipes to work the way they're supposed to
Unfortunately, they are
work.
permitted,
Right.
they are required because of the system that we have, and they need to stay there.
Mr. Chair, if I may, so you answered what I was going to say is luckily through sewer upgrades that we have done and some really fantastic work by our wastewater treatment plant operators and our team down there, we have minimized what we had been having for CSO events. But one thing I'd like to say, because we did talk about the other siphon project, the scope is very different. These are two, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure, two 36-inch wide barrels. They're gigantic compared to the smaller sewer siphon that we needed to re-drill under. And so the benefit here, once we get to part B of the project, or C, depending on what we're talking about, they're so large that we would be able to cast in place or reline them. We wouldn't need to drill new ones. I mean, I have to say never, but that is the point of us being proactive, because they're so large, they're already there. We can use this process to secure them up. But I just want to make sure that everybody at home and everybody here in the audience realizes that very different scope and size, and this is a proactive project.
Thank you for explaining that.
It's a great project. And it's worth pursuing even with the cost overruns we're experiencing. Great
Are
point.
there any other questions for? I'd just like to thank both of you for identifying this immediately, bringing it before the board and Mr. Kelly, and appreciate your transparency and again, immediately notifying us and working with us to fix this, and appreciate the work that both of you do. So thank you.
Thank you.
And last, I encourage you to continue ongoing talks with Unitil.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
If there's no other questions or comments, I would entertain a motion then to approve the use of sewer reserve funds in the amount of $123,731.04 to pay for the work that has been completed to date for the Clemson Pond cleaning and inspection project.
So moved.
And I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you both.
Thank you.
And I believe we have Mr. Sharple somewhere.
We do.
in
We
the
were
house.
just texting. He's watching from his office. He's about to walk down for me. Thank you, Steve and Steve. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Good
Okay,
night.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye, Steve. So if I may, I'll just start while Mr. Sharples comes down.
There he is.
There he is. I was originally going to present this, but I did actually ask Mr. Sharples to join us tonight to give you a little bit better of a description. There were some questions that came up over the weekend, which we did see in our packet, and we added those in a supplemental packet this afternoon when we did receive them. So if I may, I'm going to ask that Dave make the presentation tonight, if that's okay with you, Mr. Chair.
Please.
Thank you. Good evening. So I am here to ask the board for a letter of support for a grant opportunity, and I'll get into little details how long we've known about it and kind of why we put together what we did. It's a large, multi-million-dollar project, and I mentioned it before, I think a couple weeks ago.
Mentioned planning board too.
And I mentioned it planning board too, yeah. So it's a large, multi-million-dollar project, looking like it's probably going to be $16-17 million project. Will be funded 80% by the federal government. So, if awarded, which it's going to be highly competitive, but it's definitely worth applying, I believe. That would be like, we'll get about a $17 million project for about $3 million, a little over $3 million, which, would be, I think, fantastic for what you get. A lot of bang for the buck there. But first, how did we get here? About a month ago, I think it was a month ago, about the second week of April, Melissa was actually at a conference down in Florida. She sends me a note, hey, do you know about this grant? I said, yeah, actually, a couple weeks ago, I signed up for a webinar, and it's actually tomorrow. Like, it was the next day I was on the webinar. There's kind of two different grants. It's a demonstration grant, and there's an implementation grant. Demonstration is just kind of working and, work out with a safety action plan and get your action plan together. Implementation is actually bricks and mortar type stuff. So we reviewed it for a week or so, and then we brought it up at the leadership group, and we decided, I think Melissa, you suggested to have a meeting with all the folks, and I was like, let's bring everybody in. We brought the conservation and sustainability plan, the police chief, fire chief, building inspector,
UPW.
Yeah, a big group to say, kind of what do we do here? Where do we go with this? And what should we look at? And obviously, I'm just like I'm rooted in downtown parking and traffic analysis, pedestrian flow analysis. We did that. We got the capital improvement program. We have more recently, just the complete streets. This is the safety action plan for RPC. This is my little torn version of Exeter. I might need a new one, Exeter Bicycle and Master Plan. This is the Exeter evaluations done by VHB in 2020. The Exeter evaluations done in 2021. And this is like a 500-page document that I didn't want to bring. I just brought the cover. This is the VHB corridor study on Epping Road. And then this is my guiding document, the town of the master plan from 2018. So what guides our work is everything, and this grant is everything in here. So what we did in order to okay, we got 5 weeks here, 5 or 6 weeks to put a multi-million-dollar project together. So we just took, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, we took all the concept plans. They're concepts at this point, right? They're concept plans. So we're years away from, CDs here. So that's the reality of the federal grant process. But these are concepts. So we took those and we, put them all together, say, okay, string them from, I can bring up a map, I can get into detail, as you see fit, but I'll just leave it at that for now. There's about 20 improvements on Epping Road that start by the Continental Drive all the way to the Cooperative Middle School off of Guinea Road. So it goes 4.5 miles. All the intersections and improvements that we already have gone through. Voters voted in studies, that we did studies and plans and so forth, and prepared concept plans for. We just basically did a collection of those, and we intend to. We haven't yet submitted them by the 26th. So hopefully by Friday. So we're gathering letters of support for it, and that's why I'm here tonight, to get a letter of support and be happy to, answer any specific questions you have, or you want any more detail. I'd be happy to provide it.
So what I'd like is, if there are any questions directly for Mr. Sharples from the board, we can ask those now, and then if there's members of the public that wish to weigh in. We do have, for the record, 2 emails that came in since our packet. They have been added as a supplemental packet. One is from John and Sally Morris of Linden Street, and the other from Don and Mary Jo Brizzleton on Gill Street. And then obviously if there are folks here that wish to speak to it. But first, if the board has any questions for Mr. Sharples.
Just that this was discussed at the planning board last Thursday. You brought it up, and the planning board supports going.
They unanimously provided a letter of support, And I recognize, I don't know if I saw everything you just mentioned, but someone did forward me an email. I just saw it as premature. I mean, we're in concept stage, and I don't know what, you got to do right away. That's the first thing you do on this, is you do surveys and you determine your right away. I think I read something about where right away permits. Well, I don't know what right away permits at this point. So the point is to try to get, I took concept plans from this, get the award, and then you go through a context-sensitive design process, and you come out with a design which can be very different looking from, what the concept is. But that's where we're at.
Okay.
If I may.
Please.
So like Dave said, this is a pretty large federal grant. It has a maximum up to $25 million. So for a small community like us, it's difficult. And so we wanted to show, or we would like to show, that over the last however many years, the voters at the ballot have supported multiple planning studies, reviews, that we value, road safety and pedestrian safety and bike safety and that kind of stuff. If we were to rip everything up from the start where he wants to and redo everything along the way, it would be like a $90 million project. So what we're trying to discuss in this is say, how can we use those concepts or recommendations that our voters did support, because each of those projects in concept typically had a community engagement piece to them. They're really nothing typically, I don't want to say nothing never, but typically doesn't end up in final phase or final product without having some sort of community engagement piece to it. And then we don't get this opportunity that often from the federal government to take a whole bunch of things and potentially have a project that could connect so many opportunities that we've put into studies. Because if we had to go to the community and ask for $17 million, which we just did for our police and fire substation, it would be a significant burden on the community. And so since then, we've had to pick and choose little projects. I know that we've got groups in town that are helping us talk about what we can do, sort of, we always say low-hanging fruit. So to go for a grant like this, we're hoping to show that a community as small as ours has gone to the ballot and supported looking at these types of improvements. And then how do we put that connectivity together? So and Dave is right. I was sitting in a conference on AI, and the person presenting talked about this grant opportunity, and I was texting Dave, and so the turnaround in this was, I think, about 6 or 7 weeks, which when you don't have a dedicated grant writing department. So Dave, I'd like to thank Kristen Murphy, and they've been spending a lot of time. I actually would like to thank some of all of our staff. Who do you know? Who can you get a letter of support? So it's been a big collaborative effort. And like Dave said, nothing's finalized. This is trying to get the grant to say, can you help us create sort of this ribbon through town, not create it, but can you help us improve this ribbon through town? And that's all for me. But.
Mr. Chartrand.
So just a quick question. When you say the voters have gone to the ballot and supported this, they have voted to spend money on these studies and concepts, and they've actually put our treasure, the voters have put our treasure on the line to create so many of these different concepts and studies that we are now trying to put together in a larger grant proposal.
A larger grant proposal that wouldn't hurt our community financially, and that's why we're looking to try to look outside the box. The other thing is, I think a lot of times people think of New England as Old Town New England town meeting where maybe 100 people got to decide. We talk about SB2 community being difficult sometimes. This is one of those opportunities where we can say, actually, our voters get to vote. Every voter gets the opportunity to vote. So we've had, not 100 people deciding in a box or in a vacuum.
Typically 2,000 to 3,000.
Correct. So we would really like to share that with the grant committee and show that even though we're a small and mighty town, we have residents and voters that want to see these type of improvements done.
And then they've also supported it by engaging with the practitioners who compiled the studies through public outreach. So there's two ways that the citizens of this town have supported the pieces that we're trying to put together in that grant proposal.
And the other thing that I will follow up, Dave and I talked about this, and I'm glad you're pulling up the map, because if you don't mind talking about it, but even if we don't get this grant, I think it is good to have some of the work done to put it together, whether that's plug and play if another grant comes up and we only have to make small adjustments, but also to show the community that we're doing something with these recommendations. And I think we hear at BRC all the time that people are becoming more and more concerned about their taxes. So what are we as staff doing to find ways to implement some of these things that are really important to them without hindering their ability to stay living here in Exeter and enjoy those things? So that's one of the reasons why we are but why we're trying to apply for this.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any other questions, Mr.
I'm good.
Selectwoman Belanger?
So I just want to add on to what Melissa and Dan just talked about. These are all projects that have gone through processes. Guinea Road has gone through a process a long time ago. I brought this up the other night. But earlier during some of the public comment, there was somebody that was talking about we're doing sidewalks and stuff because of new condos. It's fine that they might have that perspective, but really it's about safety, whether it's now or in the future. We're trying to make our roads and our sidewalks public safety, ADA safety, all of this. So that's why hopefully we do get this grant, but it is a good way to put everything into one basket almost, so that and I just want to stress that a lot of our infrastructure and improvements have happened in Exeter because of our grants.
Mm-hmm.
It saved a lot of money, which we'll have to get an update on that, just because I'd like to remind people what that is about. But this is a collaborative effort, so I'm excited, and good luck.
If we could just let Dave, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Chair, I would love for you to just very quickly just show the community at home.
This isn't a pointer, is it?
It is. If you hold the top one down, it actually allows, there you go. And the nice thing is the folks at home get to see it too.
Can we enlarge it a little bit, or would it cut you off?
It's a long project.
I'd have to go over there.
Then never mind. No, it's fine.
You'll see. It starts right here. This is Continental Drive, the intersection of Continental Drive. right? 101 is this, you can see it right here, it goes up here. Exit 9 is, you can't see it, but it's right up here. This is the land cleared for the gateway. Yes. So anyway, it starts here, and we just did a project, in this section that got funded a few years ago, just completed that. But from here, and it goes down Epping Road, and then it turns into, even though it's all one road, it turns into Main Street here at the railroad tracks, and then it goes down through, and it turns into Water Street right here, goes through downtown, and then it turns into High Street. You get over Great Bridge, and then High Street goes out 27 as you go heading out there. And then you come here, and this is where the rec park is right here. This is Holland Way right there. And then it turns into Hampton Road, and it goes to Guinea Road, which is right here. It goes up Guinea Road and doesn't go all the way to the Cooperative Middle School because the town of Exeter line is right here. So just to real quick, so there's the project limits. What the project entails right now, at least from the concept level for the grant purposes, is that VHB did a corridor study from Continental down to Route 111, which is right there. So they did a couple of concepts. They did near-term improvements, which were kind of just quick fixes to help along. They had midterm improvements, which were more reasonable, can do it within the existing right-of-way, and then they had a future build-out conditions, which kind of blew up the right-of-way, and there was a lot of, buildings were would have to be moved and relocated type thing. So that wasn't really, we didn't feel that was appropriate to put in at this stage, because it's not even those build-out conditions. Those might occur 40 years from now, whatever, but we weren't going to put those in. So we, for the grant, for at least for discussion purposes and the grant purposes, we've talked about midterm improvements to there. Then there's not much happening between the, wait a minute, right here. I wish I could zoom in, but.
I can zoom in for you.
Yeah.
Zoom in.
The Brentwood Road area?
Well, just below Brentwood Road.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Is that helpful or no?
Yeah, but go to Brentwood Road, right, this stretch right there, yeah.
Okay. Right, what? Sorry.
Yeah,
Put it
right
back up?
around there, just zoom in on that. Okay, yeah, that's
That
better.
helpful?
Yeah, that's helpful. I see.
Okay.
So basically from right here, this is kind of a transition point because you're coming through like a commercial corridor here and, industrial, manufacturing uses. There is some residential now mixed in. There's meeting place here too. There's a school, Primrose School, Great Bay Kids is right there. But then kind of as soon as you get to Route 111, it kind of transitions. You know it. You're going into a residential area where the commercial kind of stops. And we were thinking about putting some sort of entering kind of an urban zone, like some sort of traffic calming, maybe a crosswalk with a pedestrian refuge in the middle, just to kind of let people know you're entering, the commercial area, you're entering more of a, urban residential area. Not that there's going to be people all along here, because, people walk all the time from these businesses when they go out to lunch and so forth. So that'll be busy as well.
The calming area, sorry to interrupt, but it would be for automobiles, for cars, trucks.
When I say
The calming would be for.
traffic calming, traffic calming.
Because it is.
You put a median or something with
Yeah, at Park Street, coming into town, it
and
gets a
then
little crazy.
here, the Winter Street, go right here, zoom into that intersection, listen right there, Park Street, Winter Street. So it's not a project that makes improvements for the entire 4.5 miles. It's just basically intersection and crosswalk projects that have accumulated in all these different studies that are being done. So there's really no treatment. We did look at the railroad crossing there, but that railroad crossing at Lincoln Street has PED signals, PED bells and whistles. Basically you're paved, pavement on both sides. It has gates that actually go down for PEDs on the opposite side. It's got kind of the bells and whistles already. So there's really no need for improvements to that. So just as an example. But this intersection we were going to put a rapid flashing beacon there and a crosswalk during a TAP grant, but we had we were unsuccessful in getting right-of-way for that. So we put that back in to see if there's any momentum or, because people do cross there. So we're looking to maybe get some momentum and possibly bring that back. Then there's really no improvements as you go along here until you get into Water and Center, right here.
Sorry, you gotta stop moving your thing for
Yeah.
1 second.
Just zoom in on right there, yeah.
Good?
Okay, yeah, right there where RPC is, Rockingham Planning Commission is right here, Citizens Bank's right here. This is a crosswalk, been identified in one of, that needs some improvements. It's kind of blind. You got to kind of walk out into the travel lane to be seen. So we have a concept plan on that. Then as you go up Water Street, this area, this is, we've gone over that. That was in the strategic, the downtown pedestrian flow analysis. Actually, there's a stop sign right here. I actually took this stop sign, got rid of this stop sign here, and put it on the other side of the bandstand. The bandstand's right there. Put it on the other side and made this a four-way stop. And then that allowed moving traffic onto this side of the bandstand, allowed for a pedestrian mall to go from the town hall out to the bandstand, all over here. So this entire area right now, which is a sea of pavement and for exclusively vehicles, would be a pedestrian mall. For people that, for concerts at the bandstand or any events at town hall, you'd have a kind of a nice pedestrian area. That one would need a demonstration. You'd probably want to do that to figure out the infrastructure, because there are some concerns that, right now about how backed up this traffic would be heading, into town on this leg. Not too concerned about the other three ways, but this leg could. You don't want it to back up into Portsmouth Ave and so forth. So a little more study's got to be, done on that, but that was included in the grant to kind of look at that intersection. Next intersection, you go right here. This is Franklin, and Franklin Street is right here. Clifford Street is right here. This is where, and Water Street. That's a problematic intersection. We probably pretty much all have to, when we leave here, we go. It's kind of, you fend for yourself when you cross here, and people trying to take a left. So there's been some improvements. There's been some concept plans on how to, square that up and tee that intersection up. And the next improvement, you go down, and here is Buzzell Ave. So as I jump from here to there, there's no improvements in between. That section. Buzzell Ave right here is sorry, I was pushing it down. No, right here, Buzzell Ave. There's a crosswalk there, but there's a funky alignment to it when you come down the hill across, so it needs evaluation and possibly strengthen that crosswalk and maybe some pedestrian lighting and so forth. Go down to Drinkwater, then it's down to Drinkwater. The sidewalk ends right there at Buzzell, doesn't it? On the south side, yeah. We looked at that. I mean, that's just, it's a $25 million project that you have to stay within, and that didn't, extending that side or side path or whatever you want to, what do you have for the right of way or whatever permits it.
And the crosswalk takes you to the sidewalk on the other side of the street.
Exactly, yeah. It's just something that we weren't going to pursue at this point. Not to say it's not worthy to pursue. It's just
we have the bike lane there.
You gotta pick and choose, and you can't do. You got to stay within the grant parameters and what their criteria focuses on, because this is their NOFO, which is the Notice of Funding Opportunity. It gives you all your criteria, your evaluation, and really what you need to focus on to be competitive. Anyway,
so we're at Drinkwater?
Yeah, we're Drinkwater. Looking at this intersection, we got a lot of these in town. They're the Ys, where you have conflicts. You have double conflicts. So not only conflicts here, but then as people take a left here and people take a right, you have another conflict point there. I don't know why we have so many of those, but we've got a lot. We've got a lot of them. They've had issues, not necessarily this one that I know of, like serious injuries and fatalities, but we've had some of our more serious injuries and fatalities at these type of intersections in town. So definitely gonna look at that one. That one wasn't part of the intersection evaluation yet.
So Dave, you would strengthen automobile flow there. Would you also focus on pedestrian and bicycle there?
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, when you look at an intersection, you got to think all the users are using it. We got to make it safe for everybody. while allowing vehicular traffic to flow, but everybody's got to be safe. That's the way we'll look at it. So then you go down here, go down, I think it's right in this area. Where is that crosswalk? I can't see it.
Hold on, there you go.
Yeah, sorry.
If you can find the White House on the,
Hold on, let me just,
it's right near there.
the other way?
A little further.
It's past Langdon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not far though.
Okay.
Past Appledore.
Oh, yeah, now I know where we are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good here?
Yep. I think it's right in this area.
It's right, yes, right in that area.
Yeah. So this is where the sidewalk continues here, and then there's a mid-block crossing, and a mid-block crossing only means it's not on stops controlled or signalized intersection. So any crosswalk that's, not at a signalized or a stop is called a mid-block. So it's right there. We could strengthen that crossing, still allow for it, because there is a sidewalk on the other side of the street, but maybe add some pedestrian lighting, maybe a rectangle flashing beacon, again, concept, but we're looking at it. And then along here on this side, explore continuing the sidewalk on this side, so you do not have to cross if you do not want to, and continue along this area. This is a little challenging because this is all wetlands. I'm not a wetland scientist, but I know enough to, when they're obvious. So that one's obvious along here, so there would be some wetlands filling, some permitting to do that. But there is some right-of-way in that area, it appears, so it's kind of like a positive and a negative there. We have the right-of-way, but there are some, natural resource impacts that will be absorbed there. But try to continue it along here. And then there was a roundabout. There was a couple alternatives from VHB. They had slip lanes, couple was roundabout, slowing traffic down, getting pedestrians safely across the whole kind of, look at that. So looking at that, Holland Way was included in looking at that. And then there's a path right now, a sidewalk that was part of the DTC and the Acadia Lane project that put in a sidewalk from here to there. There's a sidewalk up here on Holland Way, but there isn't that connection. So we would make that connection from the sidewalk, or side path, or whatever fits, or whatever makes sense. We're not saying which one at this point because we don't know what right of way we have. So we'll look at that, connecting that, and then going along here, and there's our new rec facility is right here.
Yep, sorry, just.
Go to the rec, I let go, yeah.
That's okay.
And then go all the way to Guinea too, if you can.
And if I may, we had talked about too, sort of the crosswalk coming out of the current pool and tennis court, right? There being some
strengthening that, yep.
strengthening that. Does that give you enough?
No, just keep going. I just want to.
Like this?
No, zoom back in.
Sorry.
I just want to finish.
For Guinea Road.
Yeah.
Which is right.
Guinea Road, yeah.
No.
Jeez.
You just went the other wrong way.
Hold on one second.
There it is.
Now
There it is.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry.
So, rec park, new rec building somewhere right there, yeah. So, extend the sidewalk to Guinea Road. There's a few alternatives that were designed for Guinea Road. We're gonna have to look at that again. They're getting a little, there were signals, there were 2 signalized options, and there's not a lot of right-of-way there. Just isn't. So we're looking at that, but somehow get people safely up to there and then make the connection up Guinea Road. That's going to be also challenging. The state owns that bridge over 101. So, you look out there and there's about a 4-foot shoulder on either side across that bridge, and you could put some separation between, the vehicular travel, like say Jersey barriers or something of that effect. But we don't know the loading analysis on that bridge. We don't know the carrying capacity. Right. There's all sorts of things that got to be taken into consideration to see what you can and can't do there. And it might be a can't do, but hopefully something can be done. But if not, then we, just do kind of get Guinea Road to there, and then on the other side, take over again and continue to the town line.
Where is the town line? Can you?
The town line, it doesn't show it on here, but it's somewhere right there. I think it's right before the entrance to the co-op. It's right here.
Which needs some
Sterling Hill.
Sterling Hill, this is in Exeter.
Yeah,
But
that's
then
not
you
the
go
road they
into
use.
Stratham
though.
to get back into Exeter
Can't use that
to
road.
Sterling Hill. So Sterling Hill right here is in Exeter. So it's like right about here.
Okay, and then just if I could say one more thing before we go on, is about sidewalks, because you said it, about sidewalk connecting. So I just want to make sure people understand, we have sidewalks that you were able to get grants for, but we're still waiting to connect some of them, so that's why you were talking, I wanted to use your example on Holland Way about connecting sidewalks.
Yes.
Because there are times you get a grant and it can correct this area, and we get a sidewalk, and then, something comes down the road and we can add to that. And so hopefully all of our sidewalks will connect at some point.
If I may make one more thing, Dave is right. The priorities of this grant are fatalities and safety. And so we're on this double-edged sword where, thank goodness, we don't have high fatality numbers, but we're trying to be proactive and fix some of the places along this sort of ribbon of road. So it's not just connectivity that we have to show as a positive result of this grant, because actually I keep saying that to Dave, and Dave's like, don't forget, it's not just connectivity, it's the safety along that pathway. And we're very lucky, but we did include Epping Road because there was something in that Epping Road area, right?
Yeah, that was one thing worth mentioning. We did in the Rockingham, the Rockingham Planning Commission Safety Action Plan of 2025. This is a prerequisite to applying for these implementation grants. Either a town or the regional planning commission or a region or multiple towns together need to create a safety action plan and identify improvements. And they need to be listed in here, not specifically, not Epping Road, Brentwood Ave intersection, but they have to say, make intersection improvements for, pedestrian and so forth. So it has to live in here. But they identify what's called a high injury network, and those are a little bit more competitive in the grant. There's only one, fortunately for Exeter, but yet kind of double-edged sword. There's only one high injury network in Exeter, and that is Epping Road from to the railroad tracks to exit 9. That section right there is the only thing that was deemed a high injury network. So the other parts are not, but
So if I could just one more. So what Melissa said was right. And when I made the comment about connecting sidewalks, it was more for people at home to understand that, yes, we have sidewalks and they're not connected yet. But the plan is to connect them.
No,
But thank you for pointing that out about the grant. I didn't know that was an aspect of it.
That's okay. There's so many
good to know.
pieces of this that are fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
For example, the TAP grant that I got, and I connected the 3 sidewalks on spring, winter, and out on Epping, one of the main criteria was connectivity. Like one of their focus points is, so you really have to curtail a grant and select your projects to satisfy what their priority is for the money if you want to get it. So you got to kind of,
it's fair.
In this case, it is a focus on reducing fatal and serious injuries.
Is preventing them part of? No, not so much.
We have a pretty low fatality per 100,000 driver, or like far as the system. So that's not going to help us in this, but. And it's a positive, though.
It is. It is.
We're,
I'm not gonna.
But we're trying to, make an argument that, it is, and we're just trying to make it safe. It will make it safer. So
Our numbers are low because we work very hard to try to make improvements.
yeah, comparatively for some other communities around, nationally, I mean, we don't even compare to some communities that, like some transportation networks, as far as injuries per 100,000, serious or fatalities per 100,000. We're not even close.
Thank you.
I'm done, thank you.
I'd be excited to hear from members of the public if like to comment.
Good evening, members of the Select Board. My name is Silas Richards from Locust Avenue. Mr. Sharples, thank you for providing more context on this grant. It's very insightful. I want to thank the town staff for pursuing the Safe Streets for All grant opportunity along the Route 27 corridor. Securing $16 to $17 million in outside funding could dramatically improve the connectivity between our schools, parks, the downtown, the train station, the recreation complex, and the associated senior center. However, I'm concerned with the current proposal as it does not yet fully reflect the goals of Exeter's Bicycle and Pedestrian Master Plan, the Complete Streets Guidelines, or the Connect chapter of the 2018 Master Plan. For years, Exeter has identified safer walking and bicycling infrastructure as a community priority. The Bicycle and Pedestrian Master Plan specifically emphasizes safety and comfort for all ages and abilities. My concern is that the proposal, as discussed on the May 14th Planning Board, appears focused on sidewalks and undefined bicycle lanes directly adjacent to fast-moving traffic. There is a major difference between a painted bike lane and protected infrastructure. Paint does not prevent a vehicle from striking a cyclist. Physical separation does. Route 27 is not a low-stress neighborhood street. It connects schools, parks, athletic facilities, residential neighborhoods, and more on Upping Road, more residential development. We should ask ourselves whether a parent would feel comfortable allowing their child to ride alongside traffic moving well above the speed limit. There's a substantial difference between creating infrastructure that technically accommodates bicycles and infrastructure that people of varying ages and comfort levels will actually feel safe using. There's also the reality of winter in New Hampshire. Painted bicycle lanes frequently become snow storage areas for months at a time, forcing cyclists back into the vehicle lanes during the most dangerous parts of the year. That undermines both safety and the long-term value of the investment. I would strongly encourage the town to consider side paths or separated multi-use paths whenever the right of way. Legally, a sidewalk can only accommodate walkers and pedestrians. A side path safely accommodates walkers, runners, wheelchair users, bicycles, e-bikes, scooters, and other forms of mobility while removing vulnerable users from direct interaction with traffic. It also creates a genuine transportation alternative that can reduce parking demand and improve access throughout town. Additionally, the length of this corridor and the points of interest along the way collect users from multiple miles away. Distances too long and uncomfortable to walk, but easily reachable by bicycle, rollerblade, or alternative means of micro-mobility. Additionally, it was not clear whether street calming and raised crosswalk measures would be included in this grant application, but they remain important because this corridor is frequently faster than the posted speed limit. This grant represents a once-in-a-generation opportunity to shape how people move throughout Exeter for decades. My hope is that we pursue infrastructure that truly reflects Exeter's repeated desire for safer, lower stress, and traffic-separated traffic options. If there are discussions regarding an additional lane for traffic, I hope that there's room for a multi-use pathway. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ma'am, you'll have to, I'm going to let her speak and then you can make a comment.
Sorry.
But you'll have to go to the microphone, please.
Good evening, Barbara Richards, born and raised in Exeter. I live on Locust Ave, 7 Locust Ave, so I'm in that danger zone. And I'm a walker through town on a daily basis. I also bicycle through town. And I would like to encourage people to work towards a separate multi-use path. I have 2 granddaughters that have moved. They're 2 young granddaughters, and being able to go up to the rec department, ride our bikes up there, I'm not going to put them in a painted bike path. I can't be on the bike path and have them on the sidewalk. They're not allowed to be on the sidewalk by law, right? So, how do we encourage our young people and to be able to spend time with our young people when there's barriers like that? So I just would like to really encourage that broader outlook of a multi-use path that's separate from a sidewalk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ma'am?
My name is Abigail Mathis-Patu, as you know. My schooling is in gerontology, and I would like to comment on the
The traffic circles, the roundabouts decrease the mortality rate a staggering over 50%. It's between 50, maybe 70% of the mortality rate of those in the geriatric community. So I'd like to encourage any roundabouts. New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont do have the old population of older people in our country. So age-friendly city communities are very beneficial, and any of the practices in the age-friendly community, such as roundabouts, I'd encourage highly. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment? Hello.
Hi, I'm Michelle Albion, and I live on Lincoln Street, and thank you for your patience. I know it's been a long night for you.
Thank you for your patience.
I live on Lincoln across from the elementary school, and I would like to reinforce the idea of a designated and separated bike lane. I see kids riding to school every day on the sidewalks because it's safer for them. It's not necessarily safer for the pedestrians, and it is against law, but, you know, we want them cycling. So whatever we can do to support families being out, being safe, we're all for it.
Great, thank you. Any other comment? Any other questions for Mr. Sharples or any comment? Back to discussion item at hand, which is the request that the board offer a letter of support for this grant. Consensus of the board?
I would love to offer a letter of support.
As would I.
Yes.
All right.
I already voted yes on the planning board, but I'll vote yes on this one too.
And Dave, the letter is going to be from the select board?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's the way you wrote it.
Yes, this was just a draft, so if there's anything you'd like, Mr. Chair, sometimes they.
No, I'm asking who, in the motion, who would you like authorized to sign this? Do the whole board or?
Could I weigh in on that? I think it'd be fine just logistically for you to sign it, for us to make a motion that you.
Are you
sign
okay
it.
with this letter, the draft?
Yes, I think I am. I did read it when I was doing my prep.
Well, I can filibuster a couple minutes if you'd like to quickly.
You could always just support you reviewing it for any changes or with staff.
Yeah, especially with the few dot
Yes,
areas.
so we're still trying to come up with a name, a catchy
figured.
acronym for the
Yeah.
project, that's why that's.
Okay.
But I think just in terms of logistics, it'd be better if you signed it as opposed to the whole board.
Okay. I appreciate you going after, and I like how you put it, once-in-a-generation opportunity. We've heard you as well, and I think that, you know, this is just a letter of support for going after a grant, and I think we would be remiss in our duties if we didn't try to secure $17 to $25 million, but also understanding that we want to continue working with the entire community to make everything accessible for as many people as we can. And I think that's the goal of the board, so.
And just, can I make it clear that I heard what you said about paint doesn't get it done. It's got to be separate. I don't know if we can get there right now, but I understand what you're saying and I acknowledge it. And as someone who rides my bicycle sometimes, I totally get that. Both intellectually, but I also get it emotionally, because when I'm riding in a bike lane that's just paint, I don't feel safe. So I get it. Whether financially we can get there right now, I don't know. But your input into this grant is really important, and we will do our best to incorporate it.
May I just, you know, I agree with that, you know, like any separation is great, but there's been some terms thrown around like shared use or multi-use pass. Well, shared use, multi-use pass are generally bike and pedestrians together, away, completely separated. Generally, those around like riparian corridors, the East Coast Greenway, they are not even close to vehicular traffic. what also is talking about is side paths, and those are great. They're popular. They're very popular used. Like you look into those for any easements that we have, cross-country easements and so forth. So some places for those. But putting something next to a multi-use path next to a roadway is technically called a side path. It's a subset of what is a shared use or multi-use path, and that's putting next to. So when you do that, I'm not saying that you have to look at each situation and evaluate the safety of it. For example, if you have a side path on a rural road like 155 in Durham, where there's no curb cuts, people go 55 miles an hour, that is an awesome, perfect scenario for a side path where you're separated and you're going through and there's no conflicts. You keep it away. But if you put a side path in a really dense commercial area with curb cuts every 80 feet, you're creating a lot more conflicts just off the roadway, out of the visibility of drivers. So you got to deal with just as many conflicts, but sometimes out of the sight of the driver. So it's just the point I'm making is it's not for everything can't go everywhere, and it needs data, evaluation, research, and apply those things to see where they fit.
I hear what you're saying, but let me counter. If I may, Mr.
Please.
Maybe it's not this project, but we can't give up on finding a dedicated, safe connectivity for pedestrians and bicyclists. We can't give up on that. If we do this, we still have to try to do that thing that they're asking for.
If I came across as saying that we're giving up, that absolutely I said wrong, whatever. All I was trying to frame is that you need to look at each one, in case-by-case basis and determine what's best for the safety of all the users of the network. And sometimes, this is appropriate, sometimes it's not appropriate, depending on the situation. That's all I was saying. We've been talking about a cross-country multi-use path or shared path quite a bit. Kristen's been talking about that. Fortunately, the easements, land acquisition is all part of that.
So maybe it's not this project, but we're going to continue to work at that.
Oh, absolutely. We just talked about that the other day.
Thank you.
I appreciate that question, and I appreciate the comment, and I never, I hear what you're saying, that we're here to talk about this. I don't think you've ever given up, on you hear the community, you meet with the community, you're open to, again, looking at the data and evaluating, and as you said, if it can be done, it can be done. If it can't be done, it can't be done, or how do we get there? And I think that I know, just in speaking with you, if you don't mind me saying this, I know that you have felt comfortable sitting down with Mr. Sharple. So I think that will always be ongoing, but I think in terms of this, we need to move forward and try to get that money with the understanding that, our capable staff will always be willing to work with the community to do what we can do when we can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that vision is not only valid, it's ultimately necessary.
Agreed.
Given the challenges that our society faces. And I understand that maybe this isn't the project to incorporate it into, but there's got to be a way to, and it would boost Exeter economically as well, to really have, we do this, and this will boost Exeter as well, but really to try to find a dedicated network for pedestrians and bicyclists. There's got to be a way to do it, to connect these vital parts of town. So I'll drop it now. And this has a very specific goal and context, and I love it. I love that we're doing it, but I still value what you all are saying and the input that you're giving. And if it doesn't happen within this, we're going to continue to keep trying to enact what you're talking about with those dedicated pathways.
Perfect. Good?
Yes, I'm good.
I would entertain a motion then for the select board to write a letter of support regarding the SAA 4 grant and to authorize the select board chair to sign the letter.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
And thanks for sticking around.
Thank you for sticking around and
Mr.
sharing your
Cronin.
thoughts.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Cronin. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. I'll be back in touch with you on that other thing. Thanks. No, ma'am, we're still meeting. Yeah, we're only halfway through our agenda. Ms. Roy.
All right. So as we've spoken about, our long-term town clerk, Andy Kohler, is getting ready to retire this Friday, which I am very happy for her. Long time working for the community and doing a fantastic job as our town clerk. We currently, through RSA 4118, do have there is a process to when a town clerk vacates, my goodness, I'm all tongue-tied, it's at the end of the night, excuse me. When the town clerk vacates her office. And we do have a deputy clerk. And the way that this process is, so Andy, the current town clerk, recommends and supports us making our deputy town clerk the new town clerk until the next election. So it isn't filling out the rest of her 3-year term. If you guys supported Jen becoming the town clerk, she would have to run again at the next election, and at which point then she would do that.
March 2027.
Thank you. Yep. So this just put in writing what the process was, that we have the ability to do that, and it is supported by Andy, and you folks would be the ability to, or have the ability to support that, and then Andy would swear her in as part of her retirement on Friday. Andy and Jen have worked that out if that is supported by you guys.
So just to be clear, it's not just that we're supporting this, but we're actually making the appointment under the RSA, correct?
Yes. Excuse
Okay,
me.
thank you.
Sorry.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion that the Select Board appoint Jennifer Shoup, who's currently the Deputy Town Clerk, to serve as the Town Clerk effective May 22nd, 2026, pursuant to RSA 41:18, to fulfill the remainder of the current Town Clerk term, contingent upon being sworn into office on May 22nd, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Moving into our regular business, Madam Clerk, we have some abatements.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I apologize. I'm just noticing that this says the remainder of the current town clerk term. It's going, I am so sorry.
No, she's right, you're right.
It's going to be to fulfill until the next town election.
Yep.
So that is
So
my
I have to
fault.
withdraw my motion.
Yep.
I'm sorry that I didn't notice that.
The motion and the second have been withdrawn. I believe unanimously we withdraw our vote.
Yes.
I do.
I do.
I want to get it right.
Thank you, because I read
my
it.
fault.
I
I'm
knew
sorry.
it.
I
and
corrected it up in
I'm
the
getting
paragraph at the
tired,
top.
so
I forgot
good
to fix
catch.
the motion, sorry.
It's okay.
I move that these, no. I would entertain a motion that the Select Board appoint Jennifer Shoup, current Deputy Town Clerk, to serve as the Town Clerk effective May 22nd, 2026, pursuant to RSA 41:18, to fulfill the remainder of the current year and until.
To serve until the next
The next election in March 2027.
Yes, so moved.
Second.
So motion and a second.
Do you want the contingent upon being sworn into office on May 22nd, 2026 in there?
Boy, they better do it.
Doesn't have to be.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
All right.
Yeah, because we've got the effective date in there.
All right.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Take two.
Take two. Excuse me. I move the following abatements. Map 110, Lot 2, Unit 10, in the amount of $352.30 for the tax year 2022.
Second. Oops, sorry.
That's okay.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I move map 110, lot 2, unit 10, in the amount of $270.11 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I move map 110, lot 2, unit 10, in the amount of $335.49 for the tax year 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I move map 110, lot 2, unit 10, in the amount of $344.60 for the tax year 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 110, lot 2, unit 58, in the amount of $224.73 for the tax year 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 110, lot 2, unit 58, in the amount of $210.39 for the tax year 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 111, lot 5, unit 58, in the amount of $162.41 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 111, lot 5, unit 58, in the amount of $222.67 for the tax year 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 111, lot 5, unit 58, in the amount of $227.29 for the tax year 2025.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm going to group two together.
Okay.
Map 110, lot 2, unit 99, and map 110, oh, no, I can't, because it's 2 different years, sorry.
Well, can you make the motion and then we just vote on the 2 years together? And the different amounts?
They're the same amount, yeah. Anyway, let me just withdraw what I just said and say, I'll move map 110, lot 2, unit 99, in the amount of $171.78 for the tax year 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And map 110, lot 2, unit 99, in the amount of $171.79 for the tax year 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Map, sorry, I jumped your gavel. Map 110, lot 2, unit 31, in the amount of $412.22 for the tax year 2022.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 110, lot 2, unit 31, in the amount of $367.14 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Map 110, lot 2, unit 31, in the amount of $339.73 for the tax year 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, map 110, lot 2, unit 31, in the amount of $348.79 for the tax year 2025.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Moving along, we have Pearpoint Park donations to approve. And we can lump these up. There's a total of $5,250. from various donors, and the donors and their donations are in our packet.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
I'm going to recuse myself on this.
I don't think you need to, and I don't think Nancy does either.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, because then we don't have.
Because you're not
a
getting any gain out of this. There's no.
All right.
Well, and then there's no quorum too, so we can't.
Got it. Yeah, okay.
But more importantly, I don't think there's any conflict,
Yeah, I don't.
All right.
as long as you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's fine. You're right about no gain.
You're comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to accept the donations received during the month of April 2026 totaling $5,250 for the design and construction of Pearpoint Park, and direct the funds to be held by the trustees of trust funds in the Pearpoint Park Fund. Disbursement of the funds shall be made by authorization of the town manager for the purpose of designing and/or constructing Pearpoint Park.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Ms. Roy, the town manager's report, please.
Okay. So I was contacted by John Ring on behalf of the Exeter Historical Society, and they are hoping if the board would consider wishing Peter A. Smith a 90th birthday, which is coming up this May 29th. And if you will indulge me, I'd love to tell you just a little bit about Peter. So he was born here in town as a member of the is a member of the Unitarian Church. Served in the 70s as a youth leader. In the 40s, he attended elementary school here in Exeter, was an active Cub Scout. In the late 40s to 50s, he worked at the Trap House for the Exeter Gun Club. From 50 to 54, he attended Exeter High School, where he was an active participant for varsity football, track, and baseball. In September 1954, he worked as a volunteer with cleanup and rescue efforts for different hurricanes, Carol and Edna. He did a postgraduate year at Kimball Union Academy in Meredith, New Hampshire. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps as a military police. He was a full-time police officer in Hampton, New Hampshire, where he continued to summer from 60 to 72. Attended Plymouth State College, was a teacher at the Nashua Junior High School. He built his family home off of High Street to raise his family, help his parents, and serve the town. And then from 1967 to 2004, he was a teacher at the Exeter Area Junior High School, 7th grade football coach, drama club stage director, ecology club co-director. And then he was the chairman of the Exeter Conservation Commission, in 1972 to 1974, and he was a member 1975 to 1980. He has been, this is crazy, he's been a member of the Robinson Fund community from 1988 to 2018. And a member of the Historical Society Board Trustee from 1990 to 2020. He was president in 2001 and 2003. He is a star in the East Masonic Lodge member, Henderson Swayze Park Board member, and an Exeter Rotarian. So he is about to be 90. There is a birthday card. If you guys would like to sign it, we can send it. But I would like to wish him happy birthday.
Thank you very much, and we thank Mr. Ring for contacting us. We're happy to sign the card, and on behalf of the Select Board, we wish him a happy 90th next week.
And can I just add one more personal touch? As he was my teacher.
Oh, really?
And I still have very fond memories of his class. Sweet. So
that's wonderful.
Happy birthday,
Mr. Smith.
So I will continue on. DPW was notified last Tuesday that there were some traffic control issues not being utilized at the construction site for up in the Webster Ave. So as soon as we were notified by the residents, we contacted the contractor, asked what happened, making sure that they're using the proper construction flaggers and that kind of stuff. And wanted to just mention that because we did have some residents concern. The current work has been focused on repairs to a newly installed manhole that had repeatedly failed the required testing as part of the upgrade. After several unsuccessful repair attempts by the contractor ultimately identified the issue last week, but they had to fully disassemble the internal components of the structure. They've fixed the defect and finally successfully passed on Monday and Tuesday. And I just bring this up as it is a project that is taking longer than expected, but it is all being taken care of. And DPW has been assured that they're going to update some of the signage in the area. I guess it was somewhat outdated for dates.
This is both the Webster Ave project and the JD Hill
Correct.
project, and the manhole that was failing
Yes.
is on JD Hill.
Yep, and then once the manhole work is complete, they will be restoring disturbed lawn areas in preparation for hydro seeding and all that kind of stuff. So we just wanted to put that out there for everybody. And then lastly, starting next meeting, our new town manager, Paul Cohen, will be here, and I will get to go back to being the assistant town manager. But I would like to thank all of the department heads for working together during this transition time, but especially Finance Director Corey Stevens for stepping up and helping me work as a team while we were down a person to provide the best service that we could for the residents and to the board. I'd like to thank the board for understanding that we were short people and always supporting us. We wouldn't have been able to do this without your support. And then I want to say how excited that Corey and I are, myself, to have Paul coming next Tuesday as the new Exeter town manager. I think the residents are going to really enjoy working with him. I think the board's going to really enjoy working with him. Corey and I have been getting to know him, and I will tell you, he is so excited for this new opportunity, and it is invigorating to get to be with him and hear how excited he is to come to Exeter. So I'm really looking forward to this transition, and I want to thank everybody for all the support. It will be almost a year, so thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa, really. You and Corey and the department heads and the employees, you have helped us get through this last year. Very much appreciated. And we're all looking forward to Mr. Cohen coming in.
Exciting times.
You know, I'm sure we all agree that between our chair and everyone stepping in to keep things going, much appreciated.
Thank you.
Please.
I just want to thank you for how selfless you've been in serving as our interim town manager, while also helping us to identify the town manager that is coming on. And it's really very unique what you've done.
Thank you.
And I'm very appreciative personally. Thank you.
Very much enjoy what I do, so I'm very lucky.
I also would like to extend my appreciation to both you and to Mr. Stevens as two-thirds of the E-team. And you certainly made my life a little easier during this period of time that's been maybe a little longer than a year. And, we've had some transition with some retirements, but our department heads have stepped up, and I know how excited you and Corey are for Paul to start. And again, Paul will be starting next Tuesday. His first board meeting will be June 1st. Paul has been coming up. He's been using vacation time, and he's been coming up on Fridays. He's met with me. He's met multiple times with Corey and Melissa. He met with the police department. He went to their annual evening workshop that the chief does. He came up for the senior lunch and served the seniors and spent some time getting to know them. So, I can honestly say, and I agree with you, Paul is incredibly excited for this new opportunity, and we're excited to have him. But I've enjoyed working with you, and I've certainly enjoyed working with you, and I know we'll continue working. It'll be a little bit different, but Thursday mornings at 9 have always been, for the last year, one of the highlights of my week. So
thank you.
thank you both for what you've done. And Paul would, and by the way, Paul's watching, so Paul, we're looking.
He has a board meeting. He'll watch after.
He'll watch tomorrow.
Right. I will say that the senior, I've had some people walking in my neighborhood that keep stopping me and that met him at that
nice.
senior and just think he's wonderful.
Wonderful.
So we'll switch now to Select Board Committee reports. Selectwoman Belanger, we'll start with you, please.
I had a Housing Advisory Committee Friday, May 8th. We talked about the proclamation that had already been read here on May 4th. We had a guest, his name was Jerry Duffy from Portsmouth Progress. He just went through the history of their committee. They're not a city committee, but they're a group of organized citizens, and just some of the things that they have looked at for affordable housing discussions in Portsmouth. So that was very nice of him to take his time and come speak with us. And then that's pretty much it on that one. Our next meeting is February 12th at 8:30 in the morning. And then Rec Advisory, sorry, I'm going to cut this one short because there was a lot and it's getting late. So bricks that were purchased will be start to be installed this week. We could buy a brick as a fundraiser. Excuse me. Same, they did restructure and it's the same crew. So let me look here. Jen Harrington is the chair still. Nicholas Nordin, is it Nordin?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is the vice chair, and Bryn Sullivan is the clerk for the next year. The yard sale, there's a yard sale fundraiser that is a week from Saturday, the 30th of May. It's from 8 to 2. You will know it's it's a yard sale that's part of the rec fundraiser because they'll have a sign that says it. So as of our meeting, there were 48 or more houses that have signed up. You can still sign up. The deadline's May 27th. There's a $20 fee. You'll be added to a map. And there's also a list of available items. So when you sign up, give yourself some time because they're going to be looking for what you are going to have in your yard sale. I think that's really the top of it. If I miss anything, I promise I will make up for it the next time. And then the planning board was Thursday, May 14th. There was a case on the agenda, planning board case number 26-3, and that was for Portsmouth Ave 22-room hotel. And at the request of the applicant, they asked that we postpone it until June 11th because they had a request from an abutter, and they honored that request. And then there was also a request for an extension to the planning board case 22-6, the First Baptist Church on Front Street. The Academy now owns that, and that was granted to May 26, 2027. And the election of officers was tabled until June 4th, June 11th, excuse me, because we were missing some people.
Understandable.
That's it.
Thank you. Selectwoman Cowan?
I have nothing to report.
Selectman Chartrand?
Given the lateness of the hour, I am going to move my report to our next meeting.
Okay. And I'm sorry to keep you, but I watched the Concom meeting, and I would just like to take 1 or 2 minutes, please. There was some public comment made at the beginning of the meeting by one of the members of the Concom regarding specifically Pearpoint Park. And I'm just going to say that some of what was offered was not completely accurate. And I would ask that our minutes of this meeting reflect the fact that when we last took this up as a discussion item, we went through the entire history, which I will not do now, but I will hit on the fact, and I hope, Joanne, that this gets in the minutes, that the Planning Board, the Conservation Commission, and the HDC, when this was first presented, all voted to recommend that the Select Board consider this offer of land and with one of the conditions being that a committee be set up. And again, we can go back to the minutes of the select board meeting when we discussed this at length, but the point I want to make tonight is the select board, since day one, when this first was kind of hurriedly shoved at us, we have been consistent. We've been consistent with what was asked of us by the 3 land use boards. We've been consistent with what we've told the public. At all 3 public hearings, we've been consistent with keeping with our motion. We put together a pretty good committee in due time who have done an amazing amount of work and done everything the select board has asked. So I just want to make that clear because I didn't think that was very clear during the Concom. I will say that one of the other members was at our select board meeting and did speak to what I just said. And at least that's how I interpreted. So it's your committee. I don't mean to overstep, but I was a little bothered that somebody took the liberty to not quite accurately portray how the select board has handled this. So with that, I'll segue to my select board committee report. Speaking of Pearpoint Park, they have raised over $35,000 in donations in a very short period of time. And so the RFQ is out, and the deadline, I believe, is either next week or the week after. So we will be moving forward very quickly on a design. So it's very excited, and I want to compliment the members of the committee who raised that money pretty much in like 3 or 4 months. Yeah. So, and they're not stopping. Tree committee met last Tuesday, and again, we're only going to plant the trees that we already have due to the level 4 water restriction. DPW has a way to get those watered and use the tree diapers so as not to use up a lot of water. And I attended with the chair of the tree committee at 3:30 this afternoon a ceremony at Lincoln Street where 2 trees were planted. One was in honor of a longtime cafeteria employee that passed away suddenly very recently, and there are about 20 or 30 kids there that read statements to her about her. It was very touching, and it was just great to see that tree will be there in her honor for decades. So
that's sweet.
It's pretty special. That's all I have for select board correspondence. We've talked about the emails that are in here. We have the legislative update, board calendar. We meet June 1st, June 15th, June 29th, July 14th, July 27th, August 10th, and August 24th.
So July 14th and July 27th?
July 28th, I'm sorry.
Okay. And then August
10th and the 24th.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, and if there's no other business before the board, we do need to go into non-public very briefly, so I would entertain a motion to enter into non-public under 91A 32A.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please.
Selectman Chartran.
Aye.
Selectman Cowan.
Aye.
Clerk says aye, Mr. Chair.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. The board will be moving into non-public. Good night, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live